Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Tige Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Tige Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family. I must admit, skincare wasn't always focused on, but since I started using the system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. You don't have to take my word for it. They have 5,000 five-star on their website around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tige Hanley get tons of benefits, at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Tige Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they offer you a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and get 30% off first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Let me introduce the crew. We got Wanaki, Cal, The Real Precious, Bruiser, Balance, Jay Story to Tell, Indy, Hink, Chanel, and me, myself, I'm Lapeef J.I. Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. What's going on, Sunday folks? How y'all doing?
What's going on, y'all?
Hey.
Hola.
Sunday.
What's good?
What y'all do this weekend?
That sounds dry as hell. Thanks, Jay, for transitioning. You know, even though we had a conversation before the show started, we still got to act like it's our first time to go live. You know how it is. It's all about the experience, man. Y'all can't be dry as hell. How y'all doing?
We're good.
What's
How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
Well, Christmas shopping. online.
Yeah, some Christmas shopping for sure. It's crazy out there right now.
Let me ask the panelists this. Am I the only one who hates Christmas music after hearing it for 1 week?
Yeah.
Actually, the Christmas music in the background got me in the mood for Christmas because it doesn't feel like Christmas.
Shot, man.
Yeah, man, it was jamming beforehand, bro. I just started cleaning up. You know what I'm saying? That's how
I turned my shit off. He said enough of that shit. He just cranked it up one.
But at OJ's house.
I'm like, damn, like, was my shit not hitting right?
No, seriously, no. Usually, they about October they start playing the Christmas music on the radio. I got serious, and
October.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, on Sirius Radio, they be thirsty to kick it off with that Christmas music. I avoid it until December. And then when December comes, I can't get enough of it.
I hate what is that? All
I'm dedicated to it. And so I'm like, once I get 1 week of it, I'm like, okay, I'm sick of this shit. Unless the Temptations Christmas album.
Yeah, you just gotta
switch. That's what I play, Hank. When I
hang
up
the artists. Mariah Carey, I get tired of her.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't even want to hear Mariah Carey.
She got to come out with something new. Okay, she could do it again.
Hey, either that or the Boys and Men. I can get with that. The Temptation.
John Legend's Christmas album is really nice. It's very nice.
Is it?
Is there any particular song that you like off the album the most?
John Legend's?
Yeah, off of John Legend's Christmas.
Yeah, hold on, I got you.
No, you can't play it. You can't play it.
No, I'm not gonna play it. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh well, I mean, I never heard John Legend's, but I heard
you said it was one of the dopest albums or something like that, and then you can't even name it.
It's called A Legendary Christmas. It's the deluxe edition.
Okay.
But
I want you to go ahead and sing a little something for us, Andy.
Huh?
Go ahead and sing one of the songs you're talking about.
We talked about I'm losing my voice. I know you hear it.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, just kick it off and then we'll come in.
Yeah, we'll come in.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You ready?
No. This Christmas.
Oh, okay.
That's not the John Legend version, but one of the songs.
John Legend probably some extra shit or something.
Yeah,
all them ad libs.
Extra cost on his shit.
I know that's right.
That's one thing I'm upset about, man, that I ain't get a singing voice. That upsets me so much.
Everybody can sing in the shower.
You have the radio voice,
singing, you come in and talk. You know what I mean? Just like the deep voice dude in Boys to Men. You come in and you gotta say something. You know what I mean? Right. You know, Christmas time, and I just want to say that you the love of my life. Every holiday I come to your house looking for that hot shot. Hey, y'all should put some shit together, man. Y'all got a whole album waiting to happen.
Hey, that's what my man, Boys and Men did.
He sure did.
He made a couple albums on it. So
Destiny Child Christmas on the 5th Christmas my baby gave to me.
Okay, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm the
Andy got a whole character, didn't she?
Yeah. I guess I'm too old for that bullshit right there.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you guys for showing up this Sunday morning. Get the people what they need, as Hank say. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. If you haven't already, hit the like stream. Hit the like button. I said like stream. Hit the like button to like the stream. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the Green Gang that's in the chat. Mr. X87 in the chat. Marquise Keys is in there. Everybody mute up and get an echo. Mr. Renegade. Shout out to you and not everybody that's going to be tuning in and watching. Shout out to everybody. That being said, let's go ahead and get into our first topic of the night. I was on social media and I ran across this post, which I think is very interesting. It says, just observe and play smart. You don't need to react to everything. Just observe and play smart. You don't need to react to everything. This comes from Luke chapter 6, verse 7. Let's go ahead and get this show started. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
I would agree. Everything doesn't need a reaction. And sometimes you just have to just look and just observe, especially, when it comes to relationships. A lot of people want to be fast. They want to be quick. They want to rush into things. And sometimes you just have to just observe. I'm a huge advocate of observing. And it could be because I play sports as well. So you have to be able to sit back, observe, run your plays, but still be able to observe when, things get out of play. And then you have to know how to, get back in the game. So.
Okay, let me find out you was a quarterback of some sort.
No, I was a shooting guard.
Okay, shooting guard at the peep game. I'm gonna go ahead and speak on it. I normally don't do, but I'm gonna go ahead and speak on this. Based off my experience, which I have failed. There's been times where you jump to conclusions, you assume, and I'm one of those people that can't stand when people assume or twist up my words. I always ask questions first, and I do believe in the way that you ask it, because you can't ask a question where it comes off as though you're accusing somebody. But I like to gather all the facts, almost like a private eye investigator, almost like the FBI. They don't just come for you. They may be watching you, but it's important to gather all facts. That's why when somebody tell me something, I may follow up and ask another person about it. We either ask the person that may have been involved and then get the story and then come to my own conclusion, which I might not agree with now one of y'all, but at least I got the entire story to be able to react properly, or at least as close to proper as I can, because you're not 100% right majority of the time, but it's just your perspective, opinion. So I believe that as a man, you should always kind of peep situations first when you had the time, because some situations require for you to respond immediately. But in most cases, always peep it, because sometimes if you jump the gun, you might put yourself and who's ever with you in danger if you respond like right away. So observe, and some things don't require, because you may be wrong. A lot of times we may not even realize that we looking at stuff completely wrong. And then we look like a fool once we come out and accuse them, or we bring up something. It's like, what are you talking about? Men have to be real careful with this, because some things may come off as you being insecure. She may be doing certain things completely different from how your mind is telling you. But unless you come to terms and understand who you are and what you like to do versus what you should be doing, if you can't figure that out, then you're going to find yourself in a lot of places, a lot of situations where you jump the gun. And then they're going to be talking to their best friends about you like this. You know what this nigga did? He went through my phone. I'm going to leave it there.
But you know what? So I ask you a question based on that. So 2 questions. At what point do you think that taking in a lot of information but not reacting comes to the point of dishonesty to a situation? Like, let's say somebody else now comes to you for some advice, something that you done peeped, but you're not really forthright with that information, So about a person, let's say Bruiser and I want to get into business, and I come to you, JR, I say, hey, what's Bruiser like? And you may know something about Bruiser that you may not necessarily tell me, because you think that I'm supposed to take the same kind of observation that you took. So do you think that could go to a certain limit, or would you have that approach in all things? Like, everybody should, have their own experience with whatever the situation is, and I shouldn't come to you for reaction when I'm looking for advice?
I think that's an excellent question, Cal, and I'm glad you asked me. Not, but I am. I think everything is situational. I think you can't. I mean, people can change within minutes. They can change. I know some people say people have patterns, but I believe people can change. I don't think you should hold people in a box. So I might not. It depends on how that person is. If that person has been constantly just a failure, complaining, whining, and always got an excuse or something like that, I just wouldn't recommend that person. I may not speak bad about them. I would just be like, just explore your options a little bit more. Don't jump at the first person that come to you, because I don't believe in just talking bad about somebody especially if I haven't had any interaction with them. So let's say Bruiser was like a bad employee or something like that 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't had any constant communication with him. Then who am I to sit here and say? I can only speak on the experience that I had with him. And then sometimes you got to be careful with what you say, because some people don't know how to articulate or explain the proper way. So I may say something and it may just look like Bruiser just, oh, hell no. And it could have been an opportunity for him. So I just think it's all situational. It all depends on what's coming at you, and you got to figure out, especially as a man, how to make the best out of that situation.
I know I didn't really understand this concept until I read the 48 Laws of Power. And for me, the law number 4 was basically saying that people are going to fill in where there is silence. So I kind of took from that if you shut up long enough, people will always reveal their hands or show you who they really are, or fill in what they think you might be thinking. So I learned that from that.
Do you think there's any benefit to being able to recognize something immediately, though? Like being, because, you know, I think people pride themselves on being able to say, I called that first. You know what I mean? I've been seeing that somebody was doing X, Y, and Z. So, you know, how do you balance between just mentally reacting like, okay, I already peeped what she was on, let's say in a relationship. I've been seeing that she was going to act a certain way, so I just let it play out, you know, versus what JR said, jumping the gun about something and turning out to be wrong. Like, is that just a roll of the dice, or what do you think?
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
That's kind of like when you have to practice discernment, right? That's when you have to know what you stand for and be willing to either stand up or see it through and take accountability. But that's also about being able to be self-aware and practicing discipline, where you can know when should I act, because to me, reacting is not the thing that we need to do, because when you react, there's an element of impulsiveness with that. So when you're able to be self-aware and you have been practicing discipline, you can kind of be a lot more sharp than if you were to just be reacting and just throwing out your energy wherever.
And I think a lot of men and women, they self-sabotage things, because I dealt with a man who he would always like accuse me of doing things that I never did. But I mean, he was cheated on in the past by another woman. So he just didn't trust women. And then he always had in the back of his head that this is going to happen to me again. So he would just accuse me of doing things or being places that I never was. And it was like, that's that insecurity that you have to heal first before you try to be out here and date people again. Like, you got to heal that first. So, yeah.
But now, wait. So now, did you peep that about him? And then in your role in that just relationship, you know, how did you react in terms of trying to play, if you wanted to be with him, of course, you know, how did you give him the assurances that you weren't doing that?
Like, initially I would try to overcompensate with things and try to prove that I'm here and prove that, hey, look at this picture, I'm at this location. But that gets old. Like, nobody wants to have to prove what they're doing and where they're at and sending locations. And that's not fun. It's not comfortable. It's not a good, healthy relationship. So it's like, no, I'm not going to keep doing that. And if you feel I need to do that, we're not compatible. So it's like, no, I'm good. No.
Yeah.
And when you know
like
yourself
a hostage
fully,
situation.
Yeah.
When you know yourself fully, you know what needs a reaction and what doesn't need a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you go through experiences with people and you see, you know, certain things and not assuming, because if you're observing, then you can actually see things play out. So I think a lot of people who react right off the bat haven't sat back and said, you know what, is it me? Like, is it an insecurity within me and why I'm reacting like this? Or is it what it really is? And when you know yourself, you know that you're not, you know, you're okay with observing without, you know, shooting from the hip.
And that's so true, because there's a difference when you see a man that's reacting. Specifically to me, I feel like that's a feminine trait, because a man should be there to lead. So if I'm dating somebody and he's constantly reacting without thinking things through, to me, I can't date him, you know? And then me being a woman, having that self-awareness and self-discipline, any woman that just reacts is a liability to that man. So there has to be a level of discernment that comes with that. And you can see how people act just walking around. You see how people, if they're constantly reacting, you know that you're putting yourself at risk every time you're around them, because you don't know what they're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said this on a few shows ago. The most logical men sit back and watch and analyze anyway, regardless. Most logical men do. I talk about leaving them at the restaurants. There's a reason why I say what I say about leaving a woman at a restaurant. And you have to, yes, You have to give her no reason, because sometimes no reason is necessary. You don't have to tell her why you're doing it. You just do it. You don't have to tell a woman why you're leaving her. You just do it. It's just called for, because she's not going to understand. She's not going to accept the reasoning. She's going to try to justify why she's doing what she's doing, even though you see it. You see the red flags. You see the points of things you don't want to be involved with. Maybe because you had that experience before, or whatever the case may be, but you see it. And you don't have to say nothing. You just move in silence and get up out of there. There's no need to hang around. You don't have to justify yourself. Just move accordingly.
Yeah, that's what I'm with you on that, Hank. And what's that? Want a key? That's a feminine trait. I see it a lot in women. They always react with a conclusion. They even ask you a question with insinuations that you agree that you was a culprit in the act or whatever, or you were wrong. Instead of asking you what you were doing, why you was out here, why you was out here cheating. Like, ask me if I was cheating. This is an example. Ask me if I was cheating first, or ask me what I was doing first. Don't just insinuate that I'm already guilty of what you asking me. So I think that's a feminine trait. You know, they always react without thinking. And I don't know if it may be some emotional disconnection they may have with themselves. It may be indeed an insecurity, but I see it a lot in women always reacting without having a full evaluation of what's going on.
So is this learned behavior? Like, this isn't something that a young person can really exhibit, like being able to, like, is this wisdom, being able to observe and play smart? Because I feel like as Black people, you know what I mean, our communities are plagued with emotional reactions every single day. You know, we a lot of the crime that goes on that we perpetuate against each other is somebody says something, it was disrespectful, I'm gonna address it right then and there. And in one sense, it feels like we encourage and kind of embrace that, like, you know, yeah, don't let nobody do X, Y, and Z. But then in another way, we're saying, well, you should actually play it smart and kind of realize who you're dealing with before you react. So, like, where's the line when it comes to that? And why is it? It seems like it's unique to our community in terms of it being so detrimental.
I don't think it's learned behavior. I think it's just nature. I mean, for a woman to react, I think that's within her nature, and a man to be more observing, I think that's in his nature. I mean, like, there's times where I'm just sitting, man, my wife sleep. She hears hey, somebody in the kitchen. You know, me, I'm like, nah, that's probably the ice maker making new ice. So you get what I'm saying?
I think it's a human reaction. No, I don't think that it's a gender bias thing. I think
I do.
Because young boys, they have to learn stoicism. You notice boys with no father present tend to have these kind of attributes. So
but is it more boys or is it more girls? Like, you have to ask yourself, is it more of a boy thing or a girl thing? You know, we as women, you know, the first thing that I believe that women have to do is control your mouth. Because that's an emotional thing. So when we act out of emotion, the first thing that's going to go off is our mouth, probably. So that's why I always say, go to therapy, go somewhere where you have to sit and listen to somebody else and not speak until they're done speaking. Because it's a practice of shutting your mouth. It's a practice of just listening. Now, I'm not saying that men don't have to do it or young boys don't have to do it as well, but I'm just saying, as women, we are more prone to go off. We are more prone to, you know, be putting our fingers in his face. We're more prone to do those things. And if women realize that we're more prone to do those things, then in the numbers, you'll go somewhere where you can practice just not talking, just listening, answering questions. For you're not in the midst of an argument. You can actually have a civil conversation. I think more women need help on that than men do.
I agree with that. It's levels to it, because when I said it was a feminine trait, when a man is unhealed and he's not mentally stable and he's not in his wholeness, he's going to show feminine traits. Just like when a woman is not healed and she needs to go through certain things to reach her next level, she is going to show masculine traits. And you see that masculine trait when a woman is being reactive because she's trying to protect herself. And that's how you see it with the nagging. It's the way that we translate our feminine starts to become masculine, and you guys perceive it as nagging and going off, and like she was saying, pointing the fingers in the face, and it's really just trying to be protective. And you see it in the man, an unhealed man. That's when you see him doing the same thing, but it's being reactive by just jumping to everything, not being able to control himself. So that's what I was saying when I said that very specifically. You can see the gender kind of start to take on the elements of that opposite gender when they're not healed.
I wasn't finished talking earlier, but I know what Kyle was asking was that was it something that we learn, or is it something that's naturally in us? We see this amongst young boys. I have a son and I see it in him. They're territorial. They may not do it amongst women, but they do it amongst each other. You see it with who's got, it's a way of asserting dominance, and men have to learn impulse control. They have to learn stoicism. It's not something that's absolute and natural, especially for Black men. They have to be taught, you cannot react this way. You cannot. You will die. You will go to jail. Bad things will happen to you. There are consequences. So I think from the element of relationships, yes, Black women lack discipline when it comes to those kind of things. But I think that as humans, it's something that we naturally feel or whatever, because we feel like our feelings or whatever, our bubble takes precedence over everything else.
Yeah, but you're talking about some kids, single parent home kids, where these boys are raised their mother. They react like that because that's what they see their mother do. Even though their mother may teach them, oh, you can't respond like this. But guess what? She's doing the opposite of what she just told that boy to do.
Yeah, but you see it in sports. You see it in sports with two-parent households too, though.
Not more than likely you won't. More than likely you won't. If there's a male, some type of male role model figure in that boy's life, he's not going to act like that. He's not going to carry on like that. He's not going to move like that, because man is constantly telling him and reminding him and trying to teach and mold him. You can't do that. That's not.
Well, I will say this, Hank. I will say this. There are kids who are, or boys who are raised in those environments who then become fathers, and they never really got, put on the right track, and now they're just recycling that behavior
on the right track, though. But see, you heard what you said, Cal? They never got put on the right track. That means nobody taught them. So it wasn't like it was taught and he still chose not to do it. He wasn't taught. You see more guys who wasn't taught end up like that, acting like that, carrying like that. If he was taught, he wouldn't do that. I promise you he wouldn't. Now, do I see more single parent? Yes, you see it all the time, because they act like women. Not saying that they're homosexual, nothing like that, but they respond, they carry, they react. How they handle certain situations that's tough. They would act like what a lady would do, or a female would do, because that's all they've seen, that's all they know. So what are you supposed to do?
Responding to what Kyle threw out there in terms of us being an emotional community. I mean, I guess when you look at the media, it's set up that way. Like it is set up for stories to go out that invoke emotion in us. You'll see young Black boy killed by the cops, or young, but that's front page news. Whereas you don't see, white hillbilly teenager happened by the cops. That's purpose. It happens, but the reason that doesn't make front page versus one of ours making front page is a reason for that. So I think naturally we are baited into being emotional with anything that goes on out here is made to invoke emotion in us. Whether it's learned, I believe it's learned behavior, because you'll have a female that parents might be together and they see their mom holding her feelings in, things not being right. She not speaking up for herself. So she goes the total opposite. Oh, when I get married or when I have a man, I ain't holding my tongue. I'm gonna air this nigga out. He gonna hear everything that's on my mind. That's one extreme. Or you just see somebody that, there's two extremes. There's saying way too much, and then there's saying nothing at all, which is like, I'm gonna hold everything in until I explode. And that's where those reactions come out with the hand in the face. You know, there's no articulation. Uh, in terms of sitting back observing, I think that comes with maturity. I've probably missed out on a lot of good people by jumping the gun, you know, by putting them in a box, because I put people in boxes. I judge people. It's what we do as humans. You can say, oh, you don't deserve it. Only God can judge me. No, I'm going to judge you. That's just how we are, whether you admit to it or not. You see this person with blue jean, a Sean John jean suit. Like, okay, this dude probably got kids somewhere he don't take care of. You see this girl, everybody has whatever little judgments made up in their head. You know what I'm saying? Has judgments made up in their head of what this person is. You make up a story in your head about who this person is. It happens, whether you admit to it or not. But as you get older, you know, you're able to take information and place it where it needs to be and understand that, okay, just because this person has a big mouth doesn't mean they're a bad person. Just because this person will tell all your business doesn't mean they're a horrible person. Just don't tell them your business or your important information. So it's maturity and discernment. Snakes, because if you keep your enemy, what it say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. There's a reason for that saying. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody, even though somebody has some nasty personality traits, that can be useful to you in the right circumstances. You just got to know when you got to go in that toolbox, you know, like, yo, dog. So keep them around.
That is definitely something that I've struggled with in my earlier 20s, reacting. I'm an emotional person by nature. So whether it's happy emotions or sad emotions, so when, you know, something happens, whether in life or in a relationship, usually my first instinct is to just be like, well, what do you mean? Or, you know, like kind of jump at it. So that is something that I've been working on, praying on. And it is really difficult to for me at least, to sit back and say nothing, especially if you feel like the person is trying to hurt your feelings or something like that. It's very hard, but it's so useful because sometimes you misinterpreted what they said the wrong way, or you misinterpret a situation. So being still and being quiet and trying to understand the full story is so beneficial. And like Kyle was saying, we as a people, we're sometimes overly emotional to our detriment, where, you know, we're risking people's lives. Sometimes stray bullets hit children, all because of a squabble from this gang to another gang. And it's just too much. So us as a community, we have to learn how to just be still and try to understand. And even if the person is trying to hurt you, just walking away from the situation could be so beneficial, where no one has to get hurt or nothing bad has to actually happen.
Yeah, and just having the right vocabulary as well. A lot of times people will just say anything that comes to their mind. There's no thought. There is no, you know, let me take a couple of seconds and breathe. Like you said, Chanel, even if you have to walk away, you just let that person know, like, I'm not feeling the behavior, the vibes. I'm gonna have to take a couple minutes on this. And you know, you have to be respectful of that. I mean, and in all honesty, it's like, okay, I don't want to say anything hurtful just because you're saying hurtful things. So let's just take a break from this and we can revisit it later. But you have to have that vocabulary in order to be able to come to grounds like that. Because if you're both yelling, if you're both arguing, like I said, if two people are arguing, you don't know which one's a fool. So I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just not going to do it.
Why is it so hard for Black folks to execute this, though? I mean, we just saw Takeoff from the Migos pretty much be murdered behind a bunch of emotional dudes reacting to almost nothing. It was just like a conversation that just escalated way out of control. And I mean, unfortunately, for every one Takeoff that we hear of, there's probably hundreds across the country every week where this kind of stuff happens. Some dice game, somebody somewhere says something flippant, and somebody else just took it the wrong way and they reacted immediately. So it seems like, I just wonder why it's so hard for us to execute the things that we're talking about right now, in real time. Like, why are we so preoccupied with disrespect and why are we so preoccupied with, you know, just maintaining some kind of public perspective about how we communicate? You know, why is it such a difficult issue with us amongst ourselves?
We don't practice it enough.
I think the rules in our community, we're playing at a disadvantage with the rules in our community. And I'll give you an example. You know, I remember hearing a person talk about like when they were in jail and the rules for like a Mexican gang versus a black gang. And like, if the Mexicans, they can snitch on you, but they can, you know, they can snitch on you. However, our gangs, we can't snitch, period. You understand what I'm saying? Doesn't mean if it's your adversary, doesn't mean we can't do it, period. So in the Offset situation, it's just the rules, whereas people should come out and be like, yo, this happened, that happened. You have a rule in place where people have to shut up. They can't be honest about what happened. So you have a person who Offset works for flat out saying it was a stray bullet. How did, nigga, you wasn't even there. How do you know it was a stray bullet? But that's the rules. I can't say what I know really happened, because that's the rules that have been set in place. So I have to play the game this way, which we're playing at a disadvantage. If you see something egregious, speak on it.
Why
but
are
that's
we
not
like
the case.
that? Why are we like that? That it would help people to get the justice that they need. I just don't understand why, as a community, we've gotten into this stop snitching.
And we're so quick. We're so quick to take it there too. You know what I mean? It's almost
like
like
black trash culture that we keep embracing and holding a flag up for like it's the best thing. No snitching. I mean, it's part of that black trash culture.
There's a reason why we
it's
like
a hood
that.
code. It's a hood code.
It's a popularity contest too.
The reason why we don't do all that telltale stuff is because we like to handle. You want to handle things yourself, so that's the reason why.
People don't talk about ourselves. It's a bloodbath. We shoot up the place and cause, you know, ricochet bullets all over the place. So we're not doing a good job handling it ourselves. If we don't trust the police, then we need to figure out.
Handling it ourselves is not necessarily a good. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a good job or not. It's all about. You got people that want to deal with it themselves. I mean, even if you go into courtrooms, whenever a person takes the life of a family member or something, those people want to get their hands on them on the suspect or the person who was being convicted so bad they'll fight through the security, they'll jump over benches and all kind of shit. People want to handle things themselves. They want to keep it in the streets. They want to keep it in their circles and deal with it themselves. And I mean, the cops don't really always do a good job of handling things. So we can't sit here and say you don't trust the cops to do a good job. Some of these cops don't even do they really poor at investigations. I mean, look at throughout the years with the stuff that's been going on, man. Like, you got people being locked up for shit that they never even done. People getting out of jail, shoot, man, recently for doing 30 years and haven't even done a crime. Like, people just want to, it's a code. Yeah, it's a code. It's a principle. People want to just run their own shit. You know what I'm saying? You come take one of mine. We know who did it. You know, we ain't gonna tell nobody. We just gonna handle it ourselves.
I mean, is that playing smart?
I mean,
just observe and play smart. Like, is that, you know, we want to handle it ourselves. I completely understand and empathize with that, but that's not the, you know, that's not the smart thing to do, right? That's not helping the community that don't do nothing. So even after the fact, like, I get it. We in the court, you see the person right there. All you want to do is punch him in the face. But that, you know, okay, you do that, you get arrested now, and that's not going to change the outcome. You just got that off. Like, why are we so obsessed with being able to do that thing? You know what I mean? Like, okay, all I want to do is get my hands on them. Like, okay, I get it, but we're so obsessed with just the ability to go do that. And I just
let me ask you this
now. If somebody God forbid, somebody take the life of your child, what's the first thing you want to do?
Well, yeah, I'm the police, or go get my revenge, of course. But like, is that a smart move? I still got another child.
But the
I
thing
got
is,
a whole family to think about.
But see, the thing is, once you cross that line, nobody cares about making a smart decision. They don't.
Yeah, I was watching Prisoners on Netflix last night. It was kind of like
nobody cares about that, and you just got to be able to understand it. Nobody cares about whether or not you're going to make a smart decision.
And you have to
the only thing they care about is the decision being made and the decision being within your control. That's it.
You have to be honest about the truth of the matter is that Black families and Black people do not receive justice. The system is not for us. It's against us. So a lot of the time we see a lot of failed and a lot of injustices when it comes to situations like these. And so the reactionary response is, you know, F that. That's my family. That's my people. That's my blood. Nobody's going to take care of my blood the way that I'm going to. I know my father being in the prison system, he said that you take care of your own. F going to the police, F saying something, F all that. You take care of your own because no one's going to take care of your own like you. And so I think that when it comes to the criminal justice system, we see that a lot. They left that boy's body in the street for 12 hours, just laying there. And nobody even cared enough to think about the fact that there's neighborhood kids walking around. His mom, his family, everybody who grew up with him could see his dead body just laying there in the middle of the street, not covered up, no nothing, because they don't care. They don't care. And so people see stuff like that and it pisses them off. It makes them mad. This is somebody's son. This is somebody's dad. This is somebody's uncle. And they had a whole future ahead of them. It makes me mad. So the first response is to take it into.
We got to transition, y'all. Somebody else want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how's take care of your own when you're violating against your own? That's not take care of your own. You're doing just the opposite. You're doing just the opposite. You should. If somebody would say, "Well, we got to take care of our own," okay, but I'm gonna violate the same person that looks like me. How we taking care of our own?
But it ain't a matter of who looks like you. So if you take the incident where the little girl that got killed by the FedEx driver, yeah, they the same color. But once you cross that line, you don't belong. You're not a part of me. I guarantee you, anybody on this panel, if that happened to you, you knew who did it, and you knew you could get to him. You ain't calling no police. You trying to go after them. And oftentimes, a lot of times, the time they get, the judgment they get from the courts, it's not enough for a lot of these families. A lot of them try to reach out to people they know in the prison system. Hey, look, I know he got 50 years, but I want you to take care. I want you to take care of something for me. I want you to get to this dude because that just ain't enough for me. You get what I'm saying? I guarantee you, if these parents, and these family members had this, if they had an option to say, hey, look, we could get his 50 years, or we can get y'all a couple of baseball bats, and time up, y'all can go do what y'all want. I guarantee you, them family will take them baseball bats.
Some trash ass family then.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and transition.
Solve anything.
I know, Bruce.
You lose somebody, all that principle shit go out the door, man. All those principles and all the moral principles, they just go away, bro.
You're not wrong, Bruce. I'm just saying that may not be the smart thing to do. That's not.
Well, I'm not disputing whether it's an intelligent decision or not. I'm just saying that once something like that happen to you mentally, intelligence and the smart thing to do is not even an option anymore. You out of it. You just lost your little girl, your son.
Mic check. It's good.
It's good.
Okay, all right. I think Bruiser and I think there was Cal that kind of touched on the next topic, but before we do, special shout out to She Critique. If you guys haven't caught one of their live streams, they live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Lapeef JR channel. So make sure you guys check them out. Come join the panel and just see what they talk about. Doing great things over there. So shout out to Shantae and Miss Taken that's in the chat right now. We do have some super chats to get through. Tap, the accountability partner, he was actually on the platform this past Friday. It's always great conversation. Much support and love for the network. Thank you. Knock it off, Jack. $10. Long time supporter since before KS was on the show. Yes, KS. Kevin Samuels was often on the network. I've been busy of late, can't stay long. Perhaps you have an email so I can formally submit a request to do a response to some of your videos. I think I've seen this before. Yeah, just email me, jr@lapeef.com, and we'll see what we can do. Shantae, a she critique in the house, says, Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Shantae.
Ray Alexander, $10. Found a woman with a good blueprint and blueprint, a design plan. Shouldn't a woman find a man with a good blueprint plan? Well, to be determined, we'll see, and build with him since the man is the leader of the family. Stay tuned for that. We'll get to it. Doug Will 499. Also, remember, 259 viewers. It's more than that now, and only 73 likes. The fuck? Stop playing and hit the like button. That's right. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you're liking the stream, if you don't like it, then I understand. But if you like it and haven't, hit the like button. Edward Shaich, 499. Hinks, fact. Yeah. Done explaining it all the time. So shout out to you for that super chat. Hunt Inc. 999. Also remember, triggers, rest, and subconscious. We all have to become aware of these things and move them to the conscious part of the brain and learn control. So we're getting deep, man. Shout out to all my psychology majors on the panel. Acapella spoken word, $5. No accountability. The men they complain about are the men they raised by themselves. Hunt Inc. 999. Also a member. Appreciate you. Cal, a lot of adults deal with childhood trauma, and as adults, those triggers are being handled like a child. Few adults seek and accept the therapy needed to manage. Shout out to Del. We're also a member. Nah, Hink, just because you look like me don't make you my own. I think that's all super chats, right? Yeah, that's all of them. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley again. Make sure you guys click that link that's in the description. 30% off along with a free gift. That's the only way you are able to get your free gift. I didn't expect that conversation to go the way it did, but hey, I got a couple slides I'm about to put up for the next topic. Want to read them, Kyle?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, from Jay Morrison. Black men don't like to be embarrassed or showed up, especially in front of others. And when they are likely to go 0 to 100 and take it overboard to prove their manhood. Then everyone says, stop the black on black crime. No, stop the black on black insults. More from them. Too many of us already feel lack of self-worth and importance. I, for one, thought I was the man, but yet always felt I had something to prove. Maturity will allow you to brush words and insults off and maintain dominion over your emotions. Honestly, somebody's worst words didn't harm your physical one, but why are you tripping? But too many men are too broken to let little things be little. Being kind isn't seen as a man's trait, and I think we had enough of the toughness. Show that brother some love and some grace. Don't test him, and he'll never feel the need to pass the test. Just my late night thoughts.
All right. Black men don't like to be embarrassed or showed up, especially in front of others. Let's talk about it. What are you guys' thoughts? Let's start with the men on this one. Go ahead, Brother Hink or Jay.
Yeah, I think of course that's the case because there's certain my thing is if you address somebody in front of a bunch of people, if you have an issue, with a man and you address it in front, you're not intending to solve the issue. You're not intending to solve the issue. You're trying to embarrass them. So if you really want to have that conversation, respect will be held, even if y'all are at odds, even if y'all remain enemies. If you have that conversation privately, it'll be a different level of respect. Because I know, with me, even with, the tone of voice that somebody's coming at me or the environment in which they present it, yeah, it's up depending on how you did it, because I know you're not doing it to be, to solve the situation. You're doing it to enhance it. So that's correct.
All right. I think you can go. I can let one ladies go. Up to you.
Okay. Well, I know, like with me, I'm that type of guy. I ain't got time for that. And trying to embarrass me. I hate those type brothers, man, that be around a bunch of white folks and just trying to make jokes and make fun and put on a song and dance, shucking and jiving. I can't stand that shit. You ass fake ass Sambo ass dudes are out there. Y'all know who y'all are. They act like that. And I can't stand those type dudes. Why are we doing this? If you really want to, like you said, resolve the issue, Jay, man, give me a call. You know what I'm saying? Oh, pull me to the side. Let's have a conversation. You ain't got to get all dramatic and all that stuff. Why are we doing this? I mean, are you looking for the audience? If that's the case, then I'm going to walk away. I'm going to treat you like the common day hoe and leave you at the restaurant. The hell with you. You're not worth it. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I'm not going to give you what you want because you want a show. I'm not giving that to you. So, yeah, I'm not with that embarrassing and trying to show somebody up. And I mean, what was your point? What were you trying to prove to doing this? So,
all right, I can get one of the ladies in there. And one of the ladies want to jump in?
I would say it's definitely levels to it, because when you have a sense of security, you're not going to allow somebody to just push you and you be easily moved and easily budged. So you tend to see that somebody can get underneath your skin when you aren't self-aware and you don't have values and you don't have something to live for, because people who tend to have old money and have access to things don't allow themselves to keep being put in a scenario where they can lose everything when they are aware of their value. So I think that if we were to push more for untangible things within ourselves, then we would have less and less of people being easily moved to the extent of risking their lives or even risking other people's lives, because then you're risking your own.
Okay.
But I think it's some of this, I'm going to interrupt in terms of the ladies jumping in, but I just wanted to add, I think some of this is embedded in Black culture, since the subtext is Black men don't like to be embarrassed, because even amongst your friends, it could be you and 4 of your closest friends. There's still a level of like, you're not really supposed to be trying to humiliate your friend. Even if y'all get to roasting each other, there's still a certain level of it that we wouldn't cross. That other cultures, especially like white dudes, if you're around a bunch of white dudes, they be making fun of each other about some of the most random things, some of the most disrespectful things. And it never gets to a physical, a physical level, especially if they've been friends for a long time.
They just take another shot.
Within Black culture, there's this thug culture, or there's this like hard, I'm not taking no slights from nobody at any point ever. And so I think that we also trying to live up to that too, where there's just this unspoken, we're supposed to just be down to throw it all away at the drop of a hat. Whereas other cultures who don't necessarily believe in that, they just take it as a joke, and then they observe and may not mess with that person anymore. Or they may secretly try to just avoid them, but it never gets to some kind of life-threatening level. So again, I guess in our last time we were asking about it, just curious why it gets that way.
I think it's just it's a street culture. In the hood, they say, my word is my bond, or, nobody wants to be disrespected, or you coming at something, if a Black man comes at another Black man, you coming at his manhood. You know what I mean? Like Kyle, like you were saying, you have a whole bunch of white men. They good. They could go back and forth with each other, and they're fine. They're still partying. They're still, shot. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas it turns into a fight with Black men. And it's like, no one wants to be disrespected, for sure. But just because you're disrespected, you don't have to take that offense. I think that Black men take offense a lot of the times, and sometimes you just gotta, walk away from the offense. You have to psychologically know what's worth, again, your reaction and what's not worth your reaction. And I think a lot of Black men want to react instead of just say, you know what, it's not even worth it. I'm good. They feel like they have to defend their manhood. And in a white community, their manhood is their legacy, their wealth. They're, not sitting there about to fight with you. They're not even thinking about throwing that away. But a Black man would think about throwing that away way quicker than a group of white men just going back and forth with each other. Even if they do get loud and rowdy, it's probably still not going to end up in a fight.
And if they do fight, I mean, their community is much more likely to have a beer afterwards. You know what I mean? Like they want to make up,
because they probably all making money together.
Right.
And that's another thing. Like they probably all, breaking bread together, literally. But with Black men is, that one individual, since there's no community there. So, you come and you toe to toe fighting someone, y'all not making money together. Y'all probably from a different hood. You don't like this one. He don't like that one. And so the lack of community is already there.
And it's all
there has to be a fight or an argument or whatever.
When you try to draw the comparison between how black people and white people react to embarrassing situations and all that stuff, me personally, I think it's just a matter of residue that's been left over from psychological conditionings. Black people been told that, not being told, but more like being embarrassed and shamed and demeaned over a course of hundreds of years. So the reason why I think that black people are quick to anger on that is because, now that they've gotten out of that shame, out of the embarrassment, out of the demeaning, you know what I'm saying? Now that they become to stand for something. And whenever you try to remove that from them, I think that psychological fear triggers and say, hey, look, I feel like I'm being pushed back into that, and I don't want to be pushed back in that. As far as the white person has never been pushed back in that in this nation. So I think that's the difference.
And that's where therapy and healing comes in, because, you don't want to repeat the cycle. You want to change the cycle. And so in order to do that, you have to figure out how you're going to handle those new emotions, you trying to be something that everybody else is not, or they're not trying to be. So automatically you trying to level up. Somebody's mad at you. Somebody's like, well, who do you think you are? You have to handle those new emotions now, because a lot of people are probably going to be saying that to you if you're trying to level up and do what you got to do, and they still have this crab in a barrel mentality.
I know.
So now you have to understand how to handle discord.
I'm not disagreeing that you do got to handle it. Yes, I think it's wise to handle. I think it's a smart way to do. But I'm just pointing the finger at what could be the actual
for sure. And I'm just saying, after you realize that there's still residue, because even after slavery and things like that, was there healing? Was there therapy given? Was there anyone saying, I know you went through this, but now it's time to heal? Now it's time for us to come together as a community and heal and be able to work together.
All of this trauma, and then there you go out in the world and handle it. Handle your own emotions, handle your own trauma. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got to understand that's a hard task. Yeah, it's got to be done, but it's very difficult.
I was gonna say too that a lot of we talked about this last night. Sorry, again, losing my voice. But a lot of black men don't have a safe place to get that vulnerable. Let's just be honest. Society expects for black men to be strong, and black men are disrespected across the board by every race. And so it's like when they do it amongst each other, it's like what Hink said, like, you're one of my own. That's how they look at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're acting rowdy and you're popping off at me. And like, we come from, it doesn't matter what hood we come from. We come from the same place. You know what I mean? Like, we come from black mothers and black fathers and a broken system that works against us. And then, they get to popping off at the mouth at each other. And it's just like, it hits a little different. You know what I mean? When it comes from the people in your own community that are supposed to be loving and embracing you. But I definitely think that black men, like, it's just now starting to become normalized for them to go to therapy, to even talk about their feelings or things like that. Like, I'm watching it unfold amongst my brothers. Mental health, there are no mental health resources put up. Black men barely go to the doctor half the time, to be honest with you, because they put themselves on the back burner a lot of the time. So they're not going and seeking resources such as you need therapy, or this is something. That's why black women, it's important for us to create a safe haven for our black men to say that, baby, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I recognize these things and we can get through this together.
I was going to say, isn't some therapy like more embarrassment in a certain way? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's seen as weaker, but like, black women too also aid and abet in that as well, because they look at it
shame.
They shame black men for having emotions. Like, you call them a simp or you call them weak, and it's not weakness. Like, that man is fucked up. You don't know what he bears on his shoulders today. So
That's what, and I say that too because you know the shaming portion of it is like, nigga, you need some help. You know, you need to go see somebody. You know, my thing is, if you're gonna say that to somebody, if you truly believe that, and you're gonna say that to somebody, show them how to do that. Because a lot of people are told that and they're not given the resources. Oh, you need to get therapy. You need to get help. Like, I work in an arena where I see how hard it is to get help. Meaning, if you need help now and you got to wait 6 months to sit down with somebody who is probably not going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, I've done it at a time where I was like, I needed it. And prior to that, I waited like 2 years before I found somebody I was even comfortable enough to sit down with. You know what I mean? Because I was like, didn't want to get a woman because if she's attractive, it's going to be a sexual thing. I don't want to be sitting there trying to get help and I'm sexualizing. You know, if she's attractive, I don't even want that to be in the equation. So I want a man with some wisdom that's been around that kind of could, you know, so I vetted, you know, no offense. I didn't want no Roseanne Barr, you know what I'm saying, as my damn therapist. You know what I mean? I didn't want no Rosie O'Donnell. So I'm like, yo, I need somebody who understands me. So it took like 2 years for me to find somebody. And that's if you want somebody that's for you. If you're talking about, you know, just getting out, even for somebody that's not for you, it'll take like 3 months, 6 months. So when people throw out that go get help, give them the steps and tell them what they're in for. You know what I mean? Be realistic about it.
Jay's absolutely right, because the same thing happened with my therapist. It took me a while. When I realized I needed to go to therapy, it took me a while to find someone that I was comfortable enough with, that not necessarily shared my experience, but you know, like a Black woman therapist, like you said, someone with wisdom, someone who's been certain places before. So, you know, there are certain steps that you need to take, because it's not as easy as just going and sitting into someone's office and saying, hey, this is what's going on with me. You have to definitely feel comfortable with them, and especially Black men, since, you know, like Indy said, it's hard for you guys to be vulnerable. You need certain spaces to do that. And getting a therapist is like trying on a pair of shoes, and you want them to fit comfortably for, you know, what you're doing. You can't wear basketball sneaks trying to run track. You need to wear running shoes that are flexible, that can move with you. So I definitely agree with that.
Another thing, we gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And part of that being uncomfortable is getting a therapist that may not look like us. We got to be okay with that. Now, I understand, Jay, what you're saying, and I'm sure it probably took you that long, maybe because you was looking for a Black male therapist, correct, Jay? That's why it took us so long. But we also still need to get the process started. There's no need elongating the process. If that means I have to go get a white therapist in the meantime, in between time, until I can find me a Black therapist that I feel comfortable with, then do that. Encourage that, because your mental's not going to get any better if you're sitting there waiting 2 or 3 years for this Black man to be available, because his appointment book is so full, because every Black man or Black woman is looking for a Black therapist. You're not doing yourself any good. So get out of your comfort zone and be willing to step out of bounds and go get a white therapist, if that's what it takes, if your mental is to that far gone. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Go ahead, Hank. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I wouldn't sit there and wait that long. That's what I did. And I was honest with my therapist. I was straightforward with my therapist. But when I talked to my therapist about them issues, I was talking about my father, issues with my father not being there. As a white man, he could relate to that. He said he came from a single parent's family too. So we could both relate to a situation. That didn't hinder me. Now, when it got to more in-depth, deeper issues, as far as dealing with race and color, he said, look, I could talk to you about it. I could talk you through it. But I got a guy who could probably help you a little further along. Black guy who could relate. And he referred me to him. And guess what? I didn't have to wait 2 years to get in there. He got me right in there. That next week, I was talking to that guy. And I told him, hey, do you mind if I transition from you to him? He had no problem with that. As long as I was getting the help that I needed, that's all that mattered to him. And so we got to be able to do this. Be willing to be uncomfortable if that's what it takes to get that mental health.
I wanted to go to Balance, since she was trying to get in there before anybody else spoke. No, she hasn't spoken yet. Go ahead.
I was going to say self-control and self-discipline, they're skills that you can learn. So people automatically think you're supposed to know these things. A lot of people weren't taught these things in childhood. A lot of times they didn't have a father to discipline them, to teach them self-control, or even a mother to do it. Whatever, whoever you think should have did it, doesn't matter. Now we're talking about where you are today. It's a skill you can learn. I don't know if you guys remember when AI was being interviewed and he's like, practice. We're talking about practice. Like, people need to practice these things, repetitions. This is how you learn. Also, your environment. People have friends that'll just snap at the drop of a dime, right? It's like your friends in your environment, that's what teaches you. That's what's training you. That's what you're doing. So you're like, oh, this is normal. My friends do it. I do it. You need to really change your environment. Of course, I'm always going to say therapy is necessary, but your environment has a larger impact on you than anything else. Who you're spending your time around, what you're watching, what you're listening to, all of those things play a part in how you react to things. A lot of people react instead of respond. So you really have to get the reps up in learning self-control and learning self-discipline. And I tell women and men all the time, go to the gym. It is going to help you learn how to discipline yourself, how to have better self-control, how to get your reps in when you need to. Like, it teaches you so many things. So I'm telling you, therapy, yes. Go to the gym, get that mind-body connection, and really work on your environment and who you're around, because that dictates a lot. Like, my friends, they don't act like that, period. I'm not around anybody that responds in those ways. So I'm just saying, your environment is a big deal. Oh, really is right. But yeah.
Can I share a resource really quickly before we get off this topic? I'm really passionate about Black men having a safe space and stuff like that. So there is an organization. It's called therapyforblackmen.org. If you're a Black man watching this, it's a free resource for Black men to seek therapists of your own kind. They have a thing on there where you can type in like your zip code and stuff like that. And then they even have financial assistance for it and stuff like that. And they even have people that can do it online with you too. So like they have like telehealth stuff. So like if you can't find anyone, and it's called therapyforblackmen.org.
You want to put that in the back chat? I'll drop it in the chat for people.
Let me say a couple things, man. I think it's childish if you gotta go off of skin color or the level of attraction before you get help. I think if you need help, man, just go get help. I don't give a damn how long their beard is, what color their skin is, how fat their ass is. Man, it's you got to be mature. You got to be able to dote about things when you walk in these offices, and man, just get in there, get what you got to get, and get out. And simply, Indy, I don't know if I want to believe you on that when you say, you're concerned about, mental health of Black men and all that stuff. Because I think on the other panel, I heard you say something about it was hard for you to please your man or whatever. I mean, don't you think that that's some of the stuff you withhold in sexual pleasure could cause mental stress on your man?
Sexual pleasure in an interpersonal relationship has nothing to do with someone having PTSD from growing up in environments where they saw people get shot in front of them at 5 years old.
Well, I listen. I understand that you got a little trauma, but I'm talking about the mental health of the person that you was supposed to please. I think that you got to consider that too.
My sexual like what I do with my body has nothing to do with you or your concern. As a married man, you shouldn't be worried about what I'm doing with my
Well, I'm just talking about the conversation we had in the past. Whenever you meet a mate, you know what I'm saying? You got a worthy mate that's potentially going to be your husband.
Yes, when I get married, I will give my husband all the that he wants, but I'm not married right now, and I'm single, and I can do what I choose to with my vagina because it's my body, and we live in a country where I'm allowed to make choices about my body. So you as a married man,
what countries are you not allowed to make choices about your body?
Bruiser, quit being weird. Why are you asking me about my sexual?
I'm asking a simple question. What country are you not allowed to make choices about?
Why are you asking me about this? Has nothing to do with Black men's mental health. What are you talking about? What I'm doing with my body and what I do with my sex life. Like, that's my business. That's weird. And you're married.
Listen, I get it if you single, but I'm saying the conversation we had was about you being.
I feel like you're sensitive about it because you might not be getting sex. So that's a conversation between you and your wife.
All right.
Moving forward.
Yeah. Hey, we just talked about reactions and thinking about it.
Because that's weird. That's weird.
You got to think about it and be smart. Play it smart.
Chanel, do you want to close us out on this?
Oh no. Well, okay, about Black men being embarrassed. Yeah, Black men don't like being embarrassed. I don't think anyone likes being embarrassed. It's an uncomfortable situation to be in, but it's how you react or not react to the situation that can, keep you living your life free and not going to jail or regretting a decision that you've made. I do think therapy can help both Black men and Black women. As a Black woman myself, I'm just trying to learn and navigate how to be that help to my husband so that in cases or times where he's in need or not feeling great about himself, that I know how to make sure that I lift him up and make sure he feels good about himself. But yeah.
All right. Guys, just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. Make sure you get the likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do have a couple of super chats that came through. Rebellious Videos, $5 said, how do we explain the school gun when Cal is tired of being shoved in the locker? He's coming back to the school with that thing. I missed that one. What happened, Cal?
I don't know why he's using me as an example. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been shoved in a locker in my life. I'm the wrong one.
All right. J. Marie, $2. Great advice. Think about therapy. Yeah, you guys don't know, Cal is actually 6'7", so I know he may not reflect.
I got a little head, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Go ahead.
Hold on. Pause on that, bro. Oh, he went left. I was just messing with you, Cal.
Damn, Cal.
Disrespect me like this, yeah. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I got a reputation to uphold. All that.
Hey, if JR didn't say pause, nobody would ever thought about that. JR is shit.
Well, what y'all talking about? I got a little head. I was like, all right, bro. Okay, man, y'all can laugh at me. Come on, y'all lighten up a little bit.
We're muted. We're muted.
Yeah, I told you I got you, baby. I got you. Come on, we gonna get you on amateur night.
All right, man. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Again, shout out to people that's in the building as well. Yeah, motorcycle must be nice outside. What background is that? Just like a damn movie.
Yeah, my bad.
There was drag racing and everything.
Close to the beach, so you know.
You're trying to stun on us.
Right.
Hey.
Easy.
Well, it's cold here.
Our next topic is suppression is most often wrapped in love. We're going to play this clip.
The suppression is most often wrapped in love. They come to you and they want you to be smaller and they want you to do less and they don't want you to leave your hometown and they don't want you to do big things and they wrap it in love because they're worried about you. But what you're really doing is threatening the reality of the fact that they chose to be small in their life. And if you go do something bigger, you're threatening their life decisions. And that's very, very scary.
Suppression is most often wrapped in love. Let's go ahead and talk about it, y'all. It's getting real on this Sunday show, man. We got tackling some real discussions here.
100% agree. You see this from parents all the time. You know what I mean? Mom, I want to be a Hollywood actor. And they know that their mom always wanted to be in show business, but she had kids too soon, whatever it is. So first thing mom's going to say, you can't do that. Everybody's trying to be an actor. Hollywood is this far away. You're going to get homesick. They give you every reason not to do it. When really it's just they're, ashamed that they didn't accomplish their own goals. So I feel like you see that more so than with your friends because your parents have a lot more influence on your life. And, no matter what it is, I think that we see that a lot. And we think our parents want the best for us. They want to protect us. And really, they don't want to see us accomplish more than they did deep down. So I agree with that 100%. Maybe with your friends, not so much. That does happen too. The whole leave the hood perspective and all of that. Like, of course, that may not be love. That's just more like they're just desperate to, they're miserable and they want that company. I think that misery loves company and this particular topic are a little bit different because those really aren't your loved ones. I think just, your loved ones don't want you to kind of outshine them. So I think it's very, very real.
I agree with that statement. For me personally, I moved to Colombia, South America, And when I announced it to my friends and any peers, they were like, "Don't go there. They sell drugs there. They're gonna kidnap you. All of these things. What's the purpose of going there?" And I'm just like, why are you being so negative about it? And one, they're referencing like stuff they've seen in the movies. So I'm just like, you have no information of what's actually there. But it was one of the most amazing experiences to live in another country, to learn another language. And if I had listened to them and stayed where I'm from, I would have never been able to grow into the person that I am. I would have never been able to speak Spanish fluently. I would have never branched out on YouTube or do all of the amazing things that I've done with my life now. So, yes, they were concerned about me, but I ultimately knew what I wanted to do in that moment. And me doing that made me a better person. And I do encourage other people to do that as well.
Now, did you feel like your life was in danger when you first left? Because I feel like something like that, if I had kids, my son came to me and was like, I want to move to Colombia. I wouldn't feel like, no, don't go, because I never got a chance to do that. But I would feel like, man, aren't they selling drugs in Colombia? I've had the same response. You know what I mean? So like, how do you navigate something like that?
They sell drugs in the hood.
Like, they sell drugs here in New York. I mean,
right.
Like, to ease your mind as a parent, I would say, definitely do your research if your child comes up to you and say they want to move to another country. But what I can say, and this is
study abroad, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
You could be study abroad. I just moved out there. But honestly, if you're a Black or brown person, no one's going to bother you in South America. Like, so no one really targeted me. I felt very safe. I was also very smart. I have common sense. And then me learning the language, I was able to, communicate with people and understand where not to go. But even in more sketchy places, if you just mind your business, people aren't really going to bother you. And then also, you just have to trust your child. Is your child mature? Do they understand street smarts? Do they understand, how people work? These are questions that you as a parent should ask yourself. And if you feel comfortable with those answers, then I think you should be comfortable with them, traveling abroad.
I think a lot of times with parents, it's out of fear. It's certain things, like you got to think about how much the world has changed. What once was something that was unproductive, now you can make millions of dollars doing video games. Your parents would be like, yo, cut that light out, cut that game off, get off that game, you need to get in a book. Now you have a circumstance where these young kids are making millions upon millions of dollars literally playing a video game, something that was condemned. So there's so many opportunities that they will never fathom, because they were taught you get on a job and damn near die on the job. Make sure you find a job with a pension, some benefits, and just work there until they allow you to retire. Whereas, we're kind of at the age where most of us are probably from that 35 to 45 range, where we have a little of both. We have a little of the find a stable job, possibly with a pension, where you got a nice 401k you can save up, but also have a little bit of the entrepreneurial spirit. Take some chances, put your money in some places where it can work for you. They can't fathom that, so a lot of times they're operating out of fear. So they're telling you, don't do this, don't do that. I have my sister, she's a lot more outgoing than I am. She's older, but she's a lot more outgoing. And a lot of times my dad, he'll be, yeah, man, she don't need to be out there in Colombia, man. She's going to get snatched up. I'm like, daddy, man, they don't steal 40 and 50-year-olds out there. You know what I mean? Like 50-year-olds not being trafficked, bro. She's good. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to you got to show them better than you could tell them. You could tell them all day. When you show them, with a lot of people, you show them a check of some money you made, or you show them a paycheck, from a job you're doing, that's when they believe it. They like to see stuff. They don't like to hear it, even though it's out there. But it's fear. They can't fathom what's possible now, because it wasn't even an option, or they didn't even know any better. They weren't taught that.
I guess I'm about to show my hair for you guys to believe I still got it, huh?
I think that
fake ass laugh, Andy.
Huh?
That fake ass laugh, you did it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was hilarious.
But no, I mean, you got hair under there for real, or no? You got like a little patch right in the middle.
No, I got the amen.
He got that ponytail in the back.
Right,
you
exactly.
know that rat tail that they
on.
I guess
but I think my parents are in that. My parents are like 40 something, and for them, it wasn't until COVID happened that they started to kind of see things like mine and my brother and sister, because I'm 27. I got a 25-year-old brother and then a 22-year-old sister. And they're like, y'all are over here posting y'all's whole life on social media, not knowing that like that's a way that we can make money. They didn't understand that you can leverage social media to make money now, and that like, you know, vlogging and TikTok and monetization and all that is a real thing.
OnlyFans?
No, not OnlyFans.
But OnlyFans has some use other than the obvious. You know what I'm saying? It depends on who your fans are, I guess.
But yeah, so my parents were like, you know, they didn't really realize it until COVID hit. Like, oh shit, like retirement might not be a traditional option. Like we might, hey, come over here, show me. My stepdad was like, show me how to use the TikTok. I got an idea. And I'm like, okay. So I think that it's like, it's a beautiful thing to kind of see that once was a fear. Now they're like, now we have to kind of overcome these fears for the sake of our financial sustainability or whatever it might, because multiple streams of income it has to be a real thing now. Like you can't just survive off teacher pension. Been a principal for 20 years. That's not going to be enough in 20 more years. So it was cool to see them where they once were kind of like, oh, y'all look silly as hell, to being more like embracing of some things that, you know, they might not have before.
I don't know about not surviving off a teacher's pension in 20 years, because 20 years you ought to have your home paid off. Any cars you may have should be paid off. You just wasn't investing right. It's just
but inflation is real.
It doesn't matter.
The value of the dollar is going down. The depreciation
home is paid off. Inflation's not going to affect you.
You still have to pay property taxes though every year.
That's fine. That's once a year.
Social Security is not going to be there for us.
That man killing every excuse.
Look at her. It's not about. She didn't say Social Security. She
if
said
groceries go up,
different from Social Security.
Right, but if you're collecting a pension and your groceries,
a pension is a. Listen, what I'm saying. Pension is one check.
I ain't loading the gun.
Social Security is another check, and if you invest it right in your 401k, your 457 Roth, those are 3 more checks you're talking about. Now, somebody's not budgeting right. Somebody need to get a financial advisor or fire the current one they have if they're not doing what they need to do.
I mean, inflation is a real thing. And
I understand what you're talking about, inflation, but if your home is paid off, what are you talking about? Inflation's not going to affect you like that. You paying property taxes. That's your damn mouth. You're paying property taxes.
Right, but the insurance is also still there. You think about cars lose their value. They're not.
You pay. It depends on your home. How you do your insurance. You pay your home insurance once a year or every 6 months. However you got it set up, right? Guess what should pay that off? That pension. I'm just saying. People need to get better financial advisors or fire the current one they got because they're not doing right.
I don't know. I think you should look at the way that the finances are going these days. Investing is not where it used to be.
Well, hold on now, Indy. So are you trying to suppress people from getting property now? Or you know what I mean? Like, because it sounds, because you speaking from a position of like maybe inexperience, a little bit of fear of the unknown, which is definitely valid. You know, we all kind of in the same age group. Jay already said ain't no Social Security by the time we get older.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it's not going to be existing. So,
but Hink is trying to say you just not planning right. You know,
you have to invest. I get what he's saying, but this is if people are educated and financially literate. A lot of people didn't have those resources.
So hold on, you have knowledge about all this high tech, Twitter, all that, but you're not.
I'm not speaking for you.
That makes no sense to me. Then you're thinking backwards.
I was talking about my parents. I wasn't talking about me.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just talking. I ain't talking about your parents. I'm talking about people in general. So my son right now, he don't play games like that, but he plays them. He's into the Twitter and all, and IG and all that. But also make sure he's financially aware. I understand you can make a check out of this, but let's invest this check. You know, don't just trick it off. Let's invest. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
It constantly changes, right? You know, Vine was in at one time. Now it's not. So you never know which way it's going to go. It could be in or it could pass. You never know.
Investing is ever changing. I mean, because you look at, crypto was the boom. Now you see all these kids just vanishing, plummeting.
Talk about bankruptcy. People with whole lives, you know what I'm saying? Some of these people talk about, I invested $800,000. Like, man, your whole life.
It's getting wicked out here, man. That stuff that's happening, people's 401ks, poof, gone. You know what I'm saying?
It was a couple pro athletes that got paid in Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Like they whole contract a year and a half ago, when Bitcoin was at 50 grand or whatever, that seemed like a good investment. I don't know if it's looking the same way right now. It might bounce back.
They got paid in Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Like some athletes was like, put this year's salary, pay me in Bitcoin, that number. Pay
their whole salary.
Yep.
Probably not the whole contract, but like, okay, this year,
that's a bad investment.
2023 salary in Bitcoin.
That's what you call bad investment.
That's what I was going to say.
Athletes are notorious for bad investment.
It's going to get back on topic real quick. Who hasn't spoken on it would like to speak on this topic before we move on to the next one? Wanaki. And I see you over there passionately taking notes over there.
Of course. I always take notes because just like we were talking about before, I do a lot of observing than saying anything. I like to take everything in and conceptualize. So
diagnosing on here now. You're passionate, quiet as hell over there. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know why? Because I want to listen to what everybody is saying because I do think that everybody's perspective is very valuable. And for me, the first thing that I thought about as soon as I hear suppression, especially when it comes and reflected to our community, I automatically think that boils down to slavery, because a lot of times back then, you wanted to always say something as a Black woman, you would want to say something negative when somebody said something positive about your child to kind of rear them away from taking your child. And I think that kind of like has evolved into today where we'll constantly say, oh no, you shouldn't do that, try to do this, or no, you shouldn't do this. And you only understand things from your level. You can only see things from your scope. So that being said, if you come from a family that hasn't had as many opportunities to be able to see outside of where they're from, there's so many people, because I've worked in Newark. I don't know if you guys are familiar with New Jersey, but the bulk of my career has been, shout out to Jersey. The bulk of my career has been in Newark, New Jersey. We don't worry about that.
Don't do that.
We don't worry about those things. So the bulk of my career has been in Newark, New Jersey, and serving the community. You constantly see people who have not been outside of Newark, New Jersey. And one of the things that I always did with the community was put together trips, even as far as New York. They may not have been to New York, even just being 20 miles outside of Newark. A lot of the children and even the adults were so excited to go to Atlantic City. And it's like, it's right here. And the more experiences that you have, the greater that your scope of understanding can be. So you start to add more value to how you see yourself. So that being said, I do believe that our community suppresses a lot of things because of where our scope is. So the more exposure that you have, the better that your scope can be. And it really does take taking a risk. and just being able to say, you know, let me just have faith in myself and where I'm at in my journey and just take this risk to see what's happening. Because if we do everything that our parents do and we don't learn from the fact that they may have had a smaller scope than us, because we do have a lot more access to the internet, to social media, to other people in other countries, so that broadens our scope. So we have to continue with that idea to be able to do other things instead of suppressing, because you always are going to fear what you don't know. That's just natural, you know? But instead of allowing it to be fear, let it be motivation to learn more. So that's my perspective on it.
Can I ask you a follow-up question on that? You know, when you're getting people out of their areas, do you think that there's any kind of fear that that person now goes off, experiences something new, and now they never come back? So in one sense, that suppression was keeping, you know, the community together, you know, and now once they start to venture out, they realize there's more world than North New Jersey, and now they never come back. Now you lose that person's influence or whatever in your community. You know, is there any fear with that or any thought on that?
You have to leave. Sometimes you have to leave where you're from to be able to go to the next level. And I think that we fear that, oh, we're going to lose our community. What are you getting from the community where you are? Sometimes where you are at is not necessarily the community that's going to help you grow. Sometimes you have to move on. And just because you're living someplace doesn't mean that that's the community that you should be with. People that look like us are everywhere. So we can go anywhere and we can adapt anywhere because that's the roots of our nature. So that being said, if it's fear from the people that you're with, look and see if that's where you want to stay, because 9 times out of 10, you can have more opportunity leaving out of where you're at because your scope is broadened and you are allowed to give yourself more opportunities. So if the fear is from the people around you, you can't worry about their life. You have to live your own life.
Well said. I want to add on to
Can
that.
I add to that about leaving the environment?
Go ahead,
Because
Precious.
I'm originally from Jersey City and I was adopted, and so that's why I left Jersey City. So I went from North Jersey to South Jersey, and it's definitely different. It's you going from city to the suburbs. But as far as suppression, wrapped in love, I was 8 years old, so I had a life before adoption. So I think it was a lot of suppression with my adoptive parents, and it was wrapped in love because I had a life before them. So Kyle, when you say, you know, going from, you know, one leaving Newark or Jersey City or wherever you're from, and then going somewhere else, you know, for my parents, I never thought about it till just recently. Like, I wonder if they thought that because I met my my biological mom, that I would want to go back to Jersey City. You know what I mean? So and again, the suppression was there, and I never thought about it. But as a parent, you know, adopting kids and they already had a life before you, they suppress a lot because they don't want to bring up, you know, maybe competitiveness against the other parents, or, you know, they suppress a lot because maybe they didn't heal hurt before adopting kids and things like that. So I think that, you know, suppression is definitely wrapped in love, especially in our community, because there's so many things that is not talked about. You know, there's so many things that's not brung to the table. There's so many people that grew up without their parents or whoever raised them saying, I love you, but they love them, but they don't say, I love you. You know what I mean? And that's, while you can love someone, it's important to say I love you. It's important to give hugs. It's important to show that. And so suppressing that can be detrimental to someone's, you know, emotional well-being. It can be detrimental for them to be able to, you know, socialize with others, trust other people. So I think in our community, suppression is definitely wrapped in love because it's just so many things that are just not brung to the surface.
Yeah, I agree, Precious. And Wanaki, I agree. Like, you know, growing up in New York City, right there, that tells you we're neighbors. So we already know the mindsets of the people. For example, like my grandmother, she's, you know, born and raised in Brooklyn, right? My mother's mother. So I told her one time I was going to go to the beach, and she's like, you going by yourself? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's not safe. Like, what's going to happen to you? Like, she was terrified, literally. She doesn't even want to drive on the highway, right? So a lot of things are embedded in them. And a lot of times they have this fear. And I know they mean well, But I tell people all the time, like certain parents, you go to them for what they're good at. Get that advice from them. Everything else, like they can't tell me about maybe like a business and being financially stable in that sense. Like don't go to them for that advice. They don't know. Now, if I have a recipe that I need and I want to cook, I know who to call. Like you have to know who to go to for what. You can't go to your parents for every little thing. Sometimes they don't know, especially if they've never been there. And if you tell them a big plan and they can't see it for you, they'll discourage you. And it's not intentional. It's just like, they're living in fear. They have this overprotection that they want to have, and they just can't give you advice for something they've never done and they never seen. The vision's too big. They've never seen it. So you just gotta
that part balance.
Yeah, certain things I would never bring.
It's not in their scope.
Yeah, like I wouldn't bring to that particular grandmother. Like certain things I'm not gonna ask you. Like you'll see after, and then you'll be like, oh, okay. But I'm not gonna tell you what I'm doing. Like it's just you gotta know what you could talk to your parents about and what you don't talk to them about, or just don't. Wait till after. Go after people that have already done it and have already been there, and they get advice from those people. So that's
yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and close us out on this. But I had the opportunity myself to actually move to a place where a lot of people were talking about it, and all the Black folks have gone there and they enjoyed it. So I was one of those people, just like you guys on the panel, that lived in fear. And when I heard about this place, it was much different a few years ago, but most recently things have changed. And I was hoping once I got there that it would probably be better than what I imagined, but it just seemed like everything was like pro-woman in this place. And this place is called Wakanda, panel. I've had the opportunity to go to Wakanda, and it has drastically changed over the past years and has shifted. You guys would find that funny?
Damn, I always forget to unmute
that,
when I'm laughing.
That one you got to laugh
at. After Wakanda, baby.
I ain't seen the movie yet, so I don't even get the joke.
Where did he go?
I haven't seen it either, but
you gotta get to see that movie.
I haven't either.
Based on
it's been my homework for a while now.
On the reactions videos and the thumbnail, so we like to say in YouTube land, I was kind of disturbed a little bit by Woman King, because I told the story before that my cousin, a couple guys, one of the guys in the group message was like, man, y'all gotta go see that Woman King and check it out. I said, oh, okay. So I went in, not because I don't watch too much TV, right? So I had no idea what I was walking into, and it hadn't registered. The title hadn't registered to me, like Woman King. I just, okay, we'll go check it out, right? And I went, and I was just like, what the hell is going on here? Some very strong women. And once I sat through the movie, it's every woman that I know, I
didn't see it.
But it was kind of interesting. So.
I didn't see it, but I heard that it was very historically inaccurate. So I really hope that most people know that that specific tribe was to the detriment of Black people, especially in the Caribbean and in the United States. So watch it for fun, but please just know that it's historically inaccurate. Please.
Yeah. I saw the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but I didn't get to see the Woman King.
Yeah, it's quite interesting what's going on in Hollywood. So I don't know.
They're pushing the strong Black woman narrative, and I feel like it's because of the fact that a lot more Black women are starting to embrace femininity. So I feel like the media is trying to drive us back to that whole strong
Black woman and femininity. It don't even need to be in the same damn sentence. It's not even. It's two different spectrums.
But they're trying to push it because economically they benefit off of Black women being in that strong Black woman narrative. So like
if you look at all these superhero movies, it's not even about per se a color. I mean, even white women, superheroes, Captain Marvel and all this other stuff, and Captain Miss Marvel and all these movies are starting to become like, I think they call it the MCU instead of the MCU. So it's just, there wasn't in the past, there wasn't a lot of female Marvel heroes or anything like that. That's why you got the female Incredible Hulk and all this other stuff.
Okay.
It's just
and black men, you know, that's the only captain black men have, right? Who's the only captain that black men have? You know the answer, JR.
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about how you guys still didn't really laugh at my joke.
I got another one. This is a joke JR wrote.
You guys suppressed your laughs tremendously just now. So I didn't even hear your questions. I'm still thinking like these motherfuckers just carried a whole conversation and start talking about superheroes when I just told a phenomenal joke. Like it was a good storytelling. You know, I got my TLA on. I did a good storytelling, and then it led up to something that was funny, and you guys suppressed your laughs. So I didn't really hear you, Jay. You asked that question again.
Who's the only captain that black men have? Jeffrey Woodland.
Captain Morgan.
You are correct. In the chat. Yo,
shout out to E40, baby. Shout out to E40.
That's the only captain black men have. You know.
Shout out to Earl Stevens, baby. Get some of this wine.
Hey, Jay, who's the strongest black superhero? Male superhero. Meteor Man.
Oh, threw it back. Threw it way back. Dang.
Hey, y'all showing your age, man.
Golden Lords.
That's too familiar with what we're talking about right now. Let's go ahead and.
Yeah, my fault, man. But that's the only black captain we have, man. Captain Save a Ho, yo. If you a Save a Ho, yo, you go get her. Pull her out of poverty.
I just kind of peep what you said. You said I would know. So you said
it wasn't. It wasn't.
He didn't say that.
Yeah, like
it was. Yeah, I did say it, but I didn't mean it that way, yo.
You said it loud and proud too. Like, yeah, you would know.
Right on the live. Hey, maybe.
So JR, you out here saving them, huh?
Nah, man, it wasn't specific.
Yeah, I should know this.
Whole time.
I feel like we've all been him at one point in our lives, man.
Nah, see,
long and strong with this one.
Let's go ahead and move on, man. I don't like the way this is going. This is going totally left right now. Bruiser, he the only one got my cow. You quiet as hell now, bro.
My bad. I was my sons was in the other room. Wow. So, you know how you got to go on mute and yell at your kids. So
usually people go on mute, they're laughing too damn hard too. So
that's true too.
Yeah. Anyhow, let me go ahead and get to these super chats real quick, man. What's going on here? Rebel's video $2 said, "My bad. I meant cow as in white male, i.e. Karen."
Hey man, them cows getting a bad name. These new cows is ruining it for all us originals. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that.
Okay. Well, 499 also a member says financial ignorance is no longer an excuse in 2022. You can learn all of that on YouTube. Scam likely $2 said Wakanda forever. Shout out to the nation of Wiggum. Yeah, tell my wigs.
There's nobody on this panel with no.
Well, I do. I have a bald head wig on today.
Oh, I can't.
When I unfold it and get my Bruno Mars on. Yeah, see, I was at the dry laugh.
Thank you, Jessros.
I am gonna get that laugh sound bite so I can key it up, man. I had it on my old machine. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it on this one. Just Rules $20 said, "Great to be back here at LAPEEF Network family. Balancing codes is a real beauty. Don't balance your beauty. Keep it full bloom in every place and room. That's LAPEEF Network." This one I wrote out a whole poem for you.
You got right? A whole you got an admirer.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get you that fast, y'all.
I thought the tease was working. I guess not. Shit. I thought I was gonna get my light. Try to crank my lighting up a little bit, man. See if I can get a compliment or two. Actually, I'm not looking for compliments. Let me take that back. Male seeking attention right there.
I like those glasses, JR.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, coming out. Yeah, coming out to Wakanda. So if you guys come to Wakanda, you can get these glasses, especially this right here. Yeah. Nevertheless, let me go ahead and move on. Man. Going to move on. Eddie, what's up? You ain't laughing at my jokes.
Not you calling me out.
I'm just don't let that bruising interaction change the mood. Bruiser does that. Bruiser got the logic. I see Bruiser got the logic nails, huh?
Yeah. Bruiser always pokes the bear and then runs away.
Yeah, you got the logic nails. I see, yeah.
Hey man, y'all gotta do something about the
the difference
nails.
between mine is Logic got dirt under his fingernails. Mine ain't dirt.
Y'all be sharpening
Bruiser.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
they're good for back slaps.
Shots fired.
I had to shake up the panel a little bit, man.
Just picking up dimes everywhere you go, picking up dimes off the floor and stuff like that with them nails.
Yeah. Or no, he's scratching his hair dye out his beard.
Oh Lord, damn boy!
Wow. Hold on, that's that Thursday energy now. Hold on, we got one rule in here on the.
That's my boy. I can say that. That's my guy.
Coming out.
You call me?
Nah, you talking about
Everything ain't
Logic.
about you.
Oh,
Logic. You say he got dye under his nails.
Bruce, I'm gonna be in the ATL next Saturday, baby.
Oh yeah, come on through, man. Or let me know where you at. I'll pull up and have a couple beers with you, man. What you gonna be doing out here at a tournament, playoff tournament or something?
My son's got a basketball tournament out there, so yeah. It's called the Lemons Classic or something.
Boy, them travel sports, man.
Hey,
I don't know how y'all do it.
How much is the tickets?
I don't know yet. I just got the link, so I'll definitely check it out and I'll message you.
Well, listen, do this. I'll do this for you, man. Ask him to ask his coach, can I be like a personal recorder or whatever, just to document, mic him up, you know what I'm saying, and record for him.
Okay.
And I just pull up and just with my camera and stuff.
shout out to Bruce.
No charge, man. No charge.
Look, if anything, I'll get your ticket. Don't worry about it. I'll get your ticket.
Hey, give me a ticket. I'm coming in with the setup.
Hey man, what Bruiser say? What he said? You ain't gotta do all that, Bruiser. You just want a ticket. Just come on, bro.
See, look at JR.
It's important to have that footage, though. It's important to have that footage.
I mic him up, man. I had it. They got the whole Tyler Perry studios, man.
Man, I rock with Hank. I'm just trying to show him that Georgia hospitality.
He could put it as part of his
okay,
scouting tape.
Yeah, there you go.
Highlight reels.
There it is.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on. It's like it's an awkward, I don't know, feeling going on in the panel or something like that. I don't know what it is.
Do we need
We gotta shake it up.
Just mistaken ain't here. So
I'm kind of used to people like falling out the seats when I'm talking and just can barely stay on cam. I don't know what's going on.
You don't got Mommy Loves 3 on here. That's why. We need her on here. She be
Listen, we missing that Sunday wig, right? We missing that Sunday.
I ain't got to do it like that.
Yeah, we doing so good, man.
My bad.
You gonna watch this back and light you up.
Shout out to the church wigs.
No, she said that her kids were singing in the choir at church today. So,
amen.
Shout out to
somebody
her.
got to pray for us on Sunday. Somebody got
What
to
are
pray
y'all talking
for
about?
us.
When y'all say the wig, y'all talking about Mommy 3 Love?
No, man, come on, let's move on, man. Jeff Rules will be coming to member, man. I don't know.
Hey, JR.
Like white comedy going on.
He keep the gun loaded, don't he? He keep the gun loaded.
Yeah. It's awkward. This is that like white comedy at its finest right here. This is they just keep coming and just dry as hell.
She gonna get you, Bruiser.
She sure is.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gary Owens.
Yeah. If you guys are cool with Mommy 3, clip it up and send it to her. I'm pretty sure she'd be more than willing to see this, and she's gonna have that smoke for you.
She's watching it. She's watching it right now.
Is she?
In church.
Texting me.
Hey, we need to get Veronica bald head ass up here.
Oh my God!
Not too much on Auntie. Not too much.
Yeah. You got to respect the elders, Bruiser. You got to respect the elders, man. I know she came at you, man, but it's from a good place. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit. Couples scheduling sex. Couples scheduling.
Where's that?
I see. Simply Italy put her cup all the way. She tilted it up. It's all gone. When it go that far, that means it's all gone. There's nothing in there. But let me go ahead and play this clip.
Thing about couples scheduling sex. Do you think not strictly scheduling, like the only way you have sex is because you schedule it, but like you got a time and a place,
I'm 100% for it.
I don't know, man. I'm more of a spontaneous type person myself. I don't think when it comes to scheduling. How do you guys feel? Is there anybody that agree that
if you gotta schedule sex, you don't really like them like that. You don't. I mean, I can understand if you got like a whole bunch of kids running around the house, maybe. I can see if you're both traveling and your schedules are just hectic. But if none of that is occurring, scheduling sex just sounds like a chore. It just sounds like it's something else that's on the chore board.
I mean, Precious, I feel like you said it. Like those are the circumstances that you schedule sex. You got a bunch of kids, and okay, it's Monday. Friday, you got a babysitter Friday night. So we go on to dinner. We're gonna go to a show. We're gonna come home. You're gonna put on that thing I like, and we're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be talking about it all week too. So that way, there's a build up. There's gonna be positive vibes once we get to it. You know what I mean? When we at dinner, we're going to be thinking about it. When we at the show, we're going to be thinking about it. And then it's going to go down when it come to it. Because you did all these things, you know what I mean? Let's say you've been out of town for a week. Now you got a babysitter Friday, date night Friday. So now we're going to be thinking about it. Now, if it's like y'all always avoiding each other and okay, we got to do this or else we ain't going to never get it done, then yeah, I agree. That's not what a relationship should be built on. Y'all lives ain't so busy where you got to pencil in getting some, for 30 minutes. And then after that 30 minutes, you got something else going on. Like, no, it shouldn't be that way. When I hear scheduling, I just mean like, it's your intent on a certain day that's not today for y'all to get something pretty much. And it's because y'all lives are busy. You got 3 kids. They all, in middle school, elementary school, they got the things to do throughout the week. You got work. All these things is keeping you from really being in the mood, having that time, all that. So come Friday, we got a babysitter. I'm off work, all these things. I think that's what I think of when I think of scheduling.
Hey, man,
I want to say that
them goddamn kids send them little motherfuckers to bed with some Robitussin in the system.
Oh no, don't do that.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna get some ass.
Look. I'm not saying I ain't locked the door a couple times in my day. I'm just saying
that ass is gonna have to get that for them 20 minutes. Fuck them kids. Send them kids outside and let them go play with the neighbors' kids, and we're gonna get it in right then and there. We're not gonna have to schedule pussy time, schedule me eating your ass out time. No, I'll be damn. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're gonna go in the bathroom and do what we gotta do. We're gonna go downstairs in the laundry room to do what we gotta do. We're gonna get it in somehow, some way.
So look. Wait, Indy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was gonna say for being married, our sex life diminished once I realized that I did not have burning desire for my spouse. I was not physically attracted to my spouse. So when the other things that he stopped doing, the intangibles, it made it to where the scheduling, where it's like, all right, I'm just doing this because it's a part of the routine.
It's your responsibility.
It's my responsibility. It's my duty to have sex with this person. So now, Bruiser, when I do get in a relationship or get married, it's important to me that we are physically compatible and I have burning desire for my partner. That way I don't withhold or weaponize sex.
Okay,
Thank
Andy.
you. So I guess everybody else just got the perfect sex life. I mean, I would say a lot of people probably don't like to Indy's point, to her defense. There's certain things that you might not like doing sexually, and there's certain things that the other person might not like doing sex. So I would say if you want to make that sacrifice for your partner, it may be good to schedule those. And it ain't gotta be like a schedule during the day. Like, hey, look, I'm gonna do that thing for you that you like that I know I don't like doing, but I'm gonna do that for you on this day. You know what I'm saying? Just to
you're saying schedule the X that you like versus the X that she like? Like, I know you don't like to go down on me, but let's schedule it for next Thursday to make sure it happens.
No, not that's called a reschedule. That's called postponing.
I mean, yeah, kind of pressure.
I'm just trying to understand. So you're saying
I'm not saying postponing or reschedule. What are you
talking?
I'm saying
no, it wasn't a reschedule. Did you hear my example? Like if she doesn't,
we're gonna do that next week because I don't like doing that right now. That's called a postpone.
No, but you said some people don't like to do things sexually like the other person, or they don't enjoy it like the other person. So you'll schedule it. And what I'm asking you is, are you saying
okay? So for example, let's say you don't like sucking dick.
What are you talking?
I'm just giving you an example. Let's say I know you don't like that. You despise that. It makes you feel.
It wasn't just you.
Why would you be with her?
Right. Pressure.
I'm just saying, there's some women out there that it's. I mean, we can use multiple examples. I'm just using this one. Let's say you don't like doing it. I know you don't, or your man don't know you like. He knows you don't like doing it, but you know that he cherishes that. So you give it to him.
And you got to schedule it, and he cherishes it.
You don't want to do it all the time.
Saying something that's real, because there's men out there who love getting their dick sucked. They get their dick sucked one time a year, which is their birthday. So now it's your birthday. I'll do this and that. So it's not like written down on your calendar, but you can assume that
somebody want to be.
I know you don't like doing this, but I'm gonna do this on this day because it's some kind of special occasion. That's similar to scheduling sex, in my opinion.
Thank you.
They're not compatible if you have to do that. I'm sorry.
It's something that he cherishes. He only gets that shit once a year.
Man, I'm throwing it down her face.
They're not
I'm throwing it down in her face.
It's an example.
You only sucking dick every once in a goddamn while.
It's an example. It's certain things people don't like to do. You got to understand, everybody not gonna like to do what you like to do sexually.
Bruiser, I think that
simply gave that same example a while ago. She had a trauma from childhood. Some people gotta grow on them, so you gotta be considerate of other people. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You gotta have consideration for others. Like, okay, I know you don't like doing this. Can we do this every now and then? I want it. If it was up to me, I want it every night. But I know you don't like doing that thing that I like, so just do it, occasionally, on an occasional special occasion.
That's one of the tough questions men should be asking the women, or women should be asking the men before you get married.
Yeah, I get that. But you got to understand that some things are not deal breakers for people. Some people are still willing to cross that over because of the other things. Everybody is not going to be completely perfect for you. There's trade-offs.
Bruce, I understand.
But that's why you have those conversations.
If one of the top 3 things that could cause divorce is a deal breaker for you, it should be a deal breaker. So
I didn't necessarily say it was going to cause divorce. I'm just saying this is something that certain things that you can deal with, you can tolerate. Some things you can't. I'm saying if it's
even just wearing lingerie, like you don't wear lingerie every day.
One of those things you should negotiate. Sex,
hold on, but that's for the person's that's your personal preference. What you could tolerate is different from what I can tolerate.
I understand what you're saying, but sex, communication, and finances, those are the top 3 things that could cause a marriage to be dissolved, right? And that's not for negotiation. We're not negotiating that.
Okay, that's you though.
I understand what I'm saying. I can negotiate your lack of cooking skills, right? That's negotiable. I can negotiate you don't make a certain amount. I can negotiate that. But some things are non-negotiable, and you're not going to weaponize sex. You're not going to hold back on me from sex. We're not going to do it. I don't care how mad. You're going to give me some angry sex. We could be angry as hell. I want some angry pussy. And
hey, look. I got no argument with you, Hank. I personally feel like if that's your household, that's what you're willing to accept and not accept in your household. I feel like every man has different stipulations and different principles in his household, what he's willing to tolerate. And I'm saying there's couples that's actually able to do it. It's couples that's actually able to come to an understanding and be able to work those things out and actually have a successful relationship. I'm not going to knock it. Me personally, I don't do it, but I'm just saying I'm starting to understand, the trade. When people have trade-offs, how they able to work through it. And I would advocate that as sex is certain things that some people don't like to do. A lot of women don't even like anal sex, like all that shit. Like, but they'll do it, to satisfy the man. But they're probably not going to try to do that shit as often as you would like to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, look,
example, man. I don't know what it is. Some crazy people out there like to suck toes and shit. I mean, it's all up to you. Like, what are you willing to,
But hey, if that means I can only get certain position from you and I can't give you anal, that's cool. I don't have no problem with that. That's negotiable. But hey, what's not negotiable is you giving me head. That's not negotiable.
Yeah,
I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Those are the tough questions that should have been asked and talked about prior to marriage.
Yeah.
And you got it.
How good your sexual are because I'm gonna have sex with you before we get married. But you got to have those tough questions. And if you don't, then that's your fault. And whatever she offers you, you accept, that's on you. Don't accept it. Have the tough questions asked.
And you got to run tests too. You got to run tests too, because people will say that they like one thing, and later on, I'm sure in the marriage you'll find out, oh, they don't really like that. So you got to run tests. I mean, I think as men, we can tell who values oral sex versus who's just being serviceable, because they like you. If you pull out some stiff veins and she looked like she's about to turn into a vampire, that she loves doing that though. If you pull out, why you're frowning your face up though? When somebody pulls out something and you start looking like a vampire that sees blood, that's when dog, they honor that. You know what I mean?
Nah, they for the street.
You're not gonna have worst case scenario, that's something that's not gonna be a problem. Versus somebody that may be, trying to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. It's like, get out of here, fam. 3 licks, 1, 2, 3.
It needs to be talked about before you guys get in a marriage, because that's something that should be part of the dating and courtship process. Like, how much sex is expected to be had in a relationship, or what does your sex drive look like, or what are your kinks, or things like that. You have to talk about those things before you get married to somebody, because that you're just going to end up running into issues of sexual incompatibility or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody is saying, because I'm a full spectrum doula. So the only time I believe that you should be scheduling sex, a full spectrum doula. So I help women with menstruation, fertility, postpartum, giving birth, all things woman vagina. So that's what I specialize in. I'm certified to help women give birth. So the only time that I would recommend, because I help a lot of families, the only time you should be scheduling birth is when you have a new baby, or when you guys are doing some type of transition in your life that's going to affect your intimacy. So I wouldn't say you should be scheduling sex, but maybe having an idea of when you guys are going to have one-on-one time, especially when you have a new baby or when the woman is going through postpartum, because it is difficult for you to keep that intimacy going, or when you're having some type of transition in your life, somebody starting a new job, or somebody just got over a really bad cold, so now we're trying to get through this process. When you have those transitions, it's important to keep the intimacy going. But when you have to start scheduling, oh, you like oral sex, or you like doing whatever, when you have to schedule those things, there's a part of you that knows that other person does not want to do it, so it takes away the pleasure from it. So it's so important to have those conversations with the person that you're choosing to spend your life with, or whoever you're choosing to be your mate, because you don't want to be dissatisfied and you don't want to be forced to do something. So if that's something that you don't want to do, speaking to the ladies, then you shouldn't be with him, and the man shouldn't be with her, because you should have what you want. Especially sex and money are two things that will make somebody get a divorce. So why would you set yourself up for failure? If you don't like doing it, be honest with him so he can know to leave you. And you be honest with her so that she can leave you, because it's so important to keep that intimacy going, to keep your relationship afloat.
And when it's like she was saying, I mean, if scheduling works for you, everybody's circumstance is different. Like Kyle mentioned, kids, I can understand how that could be hectic and time can be minimal. So you have to get it when you can, and you have to be organized about it. Essentially, you almost got to be a ninja about having sex with your wife, because your kids could just parachute in at any time, and then next thing you know. So realistically, that works for them. But in a situation, anything scheduled is almost like dreaded. It's like, especially if you don't really feel like it. Imagine that date is approaching and you truly, honestly don't feel like it. It's not going to be good. You know what I mean? Versus it being spontaneous. And I mean, I can speak for the fellas. You ever in a situation where, the woman performs excellently to the point where you like, oh, hell no. I gotta out nasty her. Like, you can't believe it. Your mind can't fathom how nasty that was. So you like, you grabbing butt, like, hold on, what you doing? I gotta do something. Like, I gotta compensate somehow. That spontaneity is where, I'm sure a sex life progresses versus looking at your calendar and seeing like, you know, okay, I got to sit this ass on my eyebrows at Thursday.
Look, man, when I look at it, man, I don't think that when I look at it, this is the first time I ever seen anything or any topic or any video about somebody saying couples actually scheduling together and putting it on calendars.
Oh, really?
From my understanding, I would think of it as you having a schedule in your own mind, you know, without the knowledge of the other person, the things that you want to do, like, oh, whenever she go ahead, whenever she get ready to cook that chicken tonight, I'm gonna go in the kitchen, I'm gonna eat her ass. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. What? I'm just saying, like, that is a form of scheduling. So to that point, I think everybody schedules it. You know what I'm
but
saying?
is it scheduled in your mind, or do y'all both know
only in your mind and no one else knows about it? It's just that you know what you want to do.
Right?
Her birthday coming up, man. I'm about to go ahead and do this, and that. I think that's considered scheduling, but it's not couples scheduling. It's just you scheduling something to do for her, you know what I'm saying? Because you just want to please her. You get what I'm saying? Because like, I don't know. You want to be spontaneous when I get down the stairs at 4:30, she's just gonna be sucking my. You know, I don't know how I would feel with that. You know, because I'm with y'all on a spontaneous. I think the spontaneous thing is more like a, you know, the shock is just way more better knowing that it's just coming from nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Versus
when you schedule it, you're thinking, all right, what am I going to wear? And what am I going to do this? And how am I going to do this? And like when it's spontaneous, like those things don't matter. You don't think about
I mean, both work now. Let's not get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? The spontaneity in a healthy relationship, both things are good. If y'all are busy and y'all just don't have time, you know, by the time y'all done finally got settled down, it's 9:30 at night. You know what I mean? You done put your kids down. You did all these things. Y'all just old. You don't really feel like it, even though you want to. You just might not feel like it. But you tell each other, okay, but come this day, we're going to make sure that we have the energy. We're going to make sure we do all the things we got to do to make sure that each other is enjoying ourselves.
I will tell you this, though. I will tell you this. If you're going to eat some ass, you might need to let her know ahead of time, because sometimes
I don't know what y'all talking about this ass.
That's a you thing, Bruiser. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, shout out to the ass eaters, baby.
Yeah. She ain't wiped up for you, man. Just let her know sometimes. You know, she be working hard in that kitchen sometimes, breaking a sweat. You know,
now eating. That's why
scheduling sometimes I feel like for women could be a little bit better. And psychologically for them, like Kyle was saying, like you talk about it all day, you get her ready for the act, you know.
If y'all are still attracted to each other.
Yes, right.
If you oh man, I hate this dude, he ugly and nasty, not come Friday, I got to do this. You may as well just work on that divorce because you need even being through that. But if y'all busy,
the text messaging, the call, you know, knowing that it's going to happen, like I can understand that, but to schedule it because it's not happening enough.
Yeah, because there's intimacy
issues. That like now you got to go talk to somebody or really break that down to why that's happening.
So I think,
but all that texting and stuff, all of that texting and stuff throughout the day, that's kind of like foreplay. It's like our version of foreplay these days. So doing the texting and everything, that's not necessarily scheduling it. That's more so like, let me start warming her up because, you know, to get to a woman, you know, you want to get her the right way. It's going to always start mentally. It's always going to start in the mind, you know? So
he said he's trying to get them things right now. He said, no, forget all that texting. We doing this.
It's levels, you know? So then you got to stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. And I think that's a part of being in a healthy relationship as well. Because just as a woman, you want to be clean. You want to smell good. You want him to be excited to hug you. So those are things that we should be doing just as a woman anyway. And the same thing for a man. You don't need to be like, oh, I wanted to do this, but now I can't do it because it's a smell. Like we got to be adults about ourselves. You know, the first altar that we have is ourselves. So we do need to keep ourselves clean. So that should not be a part of the conversation, but it is needed to be said.
We might be too young for this conversation. I think this conversation is for people that's like 60 or some shit.
No, I just think it's people who are finding intimacy issues. Like if you're on the verge of divorce, right? But you call yourselves wanting to make it work and you and your partner ain't sleeping together. A therapist might say, okay, well then this is what y'all do. Twice a month, y'all find 2 days, no matter what you're doing, You make sure that y'all are intimate, because intimacy is important, even if you might not think it is. If y'all not being physically, interacting with each other, that is part of the thing that'll cause an issue. And so a therapist will tell you, well, y'all going through this because y'all not being intimate. So if you guys don't have the time, you have to make the time to put it on your schedule. If you call yourself being a doctor, you work 80-hour weeks, you have to put it in your schedule, an hour that y'all going to be intimate. And so I think that that's something that professionals will tell you versus something that you come up with on your own.
Well, that's what the professionals say, and I'm just going to put this out there. If you guys schedule sex, men, you need to make sure you perform when that schedule comes. Because if you do all that texting and talking and all that scheduling or something like that, and you come quick.
Take some pre-workout.
You come quick.
12 pumps and then a lock up like bricks. Yeah, Doug.
That's what happens when you take them long breaks, ain't it? Quick.
She gonna be talking something. I could have had a V8.
So you got to hit the gym real quick. You know what I mean? You got to run, go for a jog, get your whole mind right the whole week.
And they'll lock up like a steering wheel after 12 pumps. You'll just.
And for women that are having any issues, you want to start looking into fenugreek and cranberry pills. You can even look into maca root. Those will be things that will help you, that you can take healthy supplements that will also help. Ashwagandha is a great one, but definitely that fenugreek will help with your smell and your taste. And the cranberry as well, that's going to be good for your womb. And you'll see differences right away. Thank me later. And let me know when you need to do that.
Look at him, boy, like a little teddy bear.
Love it. Talking shit, baby. Talking. Hey, come give that informative sex talk. I love it. I ain't got no problem with it, ladies. If y'all ain't in the chat, if y'all ain't hitting this like button for this good shit, I don't know why. Getting this good formative information after dark. Call it what you want to. It's demon time all the time for me.
All right, if you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef and Sundays, moving right along. We almost to the meat. We know the ladies like the meat since we're talking about after hours. I said ladies, that's how we do over here. Anything about anything else right now. So just rules part out also remember said Hink says couple scheduling is just a facade.
A facade.
Not a facade.
Shit.
God will spare files also remember says some women will suck the veins out you during the dating stage and stop after marriage. Should he leave or cheat if she refuses to go back?
Talk about it, God will. You said something right there.
Switch up.
Yep.
Just rules. Also, a member says comedian. What's his name? Lord says 4 important factors in a marriage relationships is chemistry, compatibility, and commitment and communication. That's a sweet spiritual, mental, and sexual healing deal.
Say that.
God will spare. If I also remember, I think most men marry the women who isn't a freak and lay the chest.
That part.
Part. Very few men marry the women who is a freak and a wife. I guess you got to be consistent. That's to take away from those super chats.
I can see how that would be.
Just rules $2. Also, remember says sex and keeps mental stimulation for communication. Sorry, damn, sound too damn loud. All type of shit over there. You got
that was comedy.
Are y'all laughing at the shit that's not okay? You guys just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef and Sundays again. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. 30% off along the free gift. That link is in the description. Next topic before we get to the meat. Why your man or woman needs training. Why your man or woman needs training. I see Wanakee Head came up fast when we said that. Might be her topic. Might need to go first with her, you guys.
need to normalize almost like training your woman. You know, a lot of women have, you know, we've been self-sufficient, independent. So we're used to a certain, you know, paradigm. Sometimes you have to be patient enough to be like, no, talk to me like this. I'm your man. And you can't just be like giving up on your woman after the fifth argument. Sometimes it's going to take 50.
When you think of the term training someone, you almost think about it in the same context of like training a dog. And there is some validity in that saying, but it's no different from me when I play football all my life. I had to train to do a drill a certain way. I had to train to learn to play a certain way. And I feel like in a relationship, you're coming from two completely different worlds, and you do kind of have to train each other on how you should receive respect, how you should receive like intimacy. All those things do have to be trained for men and for women, not just for women. Training is important in a relationship.
It says training is needed for both men and women. Why your man or woman needs training? Let's talk about it. What do you guys thoughts? Go ahead, Wanakey.
So when you're dating and when you're being courted, you're automatically going through a training process. You're actually trying out. You're trying to figure out whether that you guys are complementary to each other's goals, whether you guys are compatible. You're actually going through a training process, and that's when you can start to assess whether that person is adaptable or complementary to your lifestyle. So I do believe that if you're being courted and you're dating, you are in a training process. Even now in my relationship, I'm constantly training to find out, you know, whether what he desires is something that I'm capable of doing. And it's happening the other way as well, where I'm constantly seeing, like, is he adapting to my needs? Is he leading me the way that I need to be led? Those things are essential to a healthy relationship if the goal is marriage and a family.
Go ahead, Bruiser.
That was some bullshit. Because
that's
in the beginning of the relationship,
are you talking about what Wanakey said or what the video said? Because I think Wanakey took it personal.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wanakey. Yeah.
I can't take it personal when I'm living my, you know,
I was talking about Wanakey.
So can't take it personal when I'm happy with what's going on in my relationship.
Hey, you fit where? All I'm saying is when you get in the relationship in the beginning, everybody got their best foot forward in the vetting process. The real training takes place whenever you actually go through the relationship. It's almost like when you play a sport. Somebody can tell you the plays and tell you what to do and how you need to react to certain zones and coverages and shit. All that shit don't matter until you get on the field and actually go through it. Because when you actually going through it and you receiving it in real time, that's when you actually get your training. So that's when you actually able to, you know, measure how well you could respond to it in action. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you in action. So whenever you get in a relationship, a lot of people change up, man. So,
hold on, Bruiser. So if we keep a sports analogy, you think that training camp, that's not real. You think that the real players don't really know if they can play their position until they end on the team. Like if you get preseason, right? We can call preseason the dating stage. So you still being run through real life scenarios. Like if I call myself having a girlfriend and I need certain kind of communication after work or whatever it is, just because we're not married, I'm still going to behave how I plan to behave long term, you know, whatever it is. So I'm training her to respond to me. If she says, oh, I want unseasoned chicken and unseasoned rice for dinner, this is what I eat. And I'm like, well, no, I need this kind of food. You know what I mean? That's me letting her know this is what I'm going to need long term. So I'm not going to switch it up on her when we're married and now say, this is what I need to maintain a long-term relationship. I'm going to be this way from jump. That way we both can get acclimated to each other's behavior. And then if we see that we can take your behavior, then you take the relationship to the next level. If you can't, then you end up getting cut from the team. So I'm just wondering.
When you use sports, you got to consider that training camp and practice, all that. That's all fine. A lot of guys, they perform better than at practice than they actually do whenever it's game time. And you know what I'm saying? The real players come out when it's game time. The real players come out when it's a crowd, when you in the heat of the moment. That's when you see who can really perform. You get what I'm saying? All this training in the beginning, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to understand, in relationships, people change, man. The things that you like whenever you was 21 years old when you met her, you ain't going to like that shit when you start. She might not like it when she started. Everybody's mind changes. So I think the training is a never ending. I guess you could say it never ends. You always training because you always adapting. You constantly, especially women, they go through a lot of emotional changes and shit. You know, when they get older, their insecurities increase. You know what I'm saying? They you know, they change. All this stuff, it happens. You know, you can't do the same shit. You can't react the same way when you did when she was very, very beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You might not like how she look now. You know, your whole vibe gonna change. You know what I'm saying? The things you used to do, everything changed, man. You set yourself up for failure when you get fixed on a training in the beginning of the relationship and think that's just gonna carry you through the whole entire relationship. You're gonna have to retrain.
Well,
I think you're saying
but
that
that's a relationship,
the training
right?
comes.
You constantly are learning and growing with each
It's a
other.
roller coaster.
I never said that the training ever ends, because who I am right now, I will not be in 20 years. Ideally, I should be growing and he should be growing with me. And that's when you have to practice discernment on whether that person is adapting with you, whether you guys have complementary goals. Are we compatible? Are we on the same page? And constantly being open to that growth. And that's where the discernment comes, because everybody will not be willing to grow with you. Everybody will not be compatible with you. So you see how that person is going to be behaving alongside with you when you're doing the dating and the courting. And then when you're in the relationship, you still have to be willing to accept whether, is this what I want, or am I going to move forward? Is this what I want, or I'm going to move forward? And that's where you have to be self-aware.
I think that this all sounds very like, this is the part of things where I'm like, it just sounds so complicated. Like dating and being in a relationship in the beginning should be fun. Like, you should not have to do any kind of training or any of that kind of stuff.
No, see, let's not get caught up on the word training, because it is triggering, and
that's what it is, though. That's
really just learning. You're just learning your person.
Okay, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah. It just sounds very like complicated, and I think that at a baseline, a lot of people are not dating people that they have burning desire for, that they're compatible with, that they want to have sex with.
So why date them?
Because people marry and date the idea of what they think they should be with. A lot of men do this. They marry the ideal wife.
Exactly. So that's the problem.
Instead of marrying the girl that they had the best sex with. Why? Because in their mind, they've already placed her in a category of hoe, right? Yes, they do this.
Yeah.
But that she gets them there sexually, and they don't want to train her to become what they want, or whatever it is, because they're like, no, this is what my wife looks like. This, and that in my head. They'll let that woman go, but then double back, want to cheat with that woman, want to still keep that woman around.
Only training I think is acceptable and in the beginning that may be able to carry you throughout the relationship is probably in the bed. You know, teaching a person, hey, look, this is what I like. You know, these are my spots. If you do these, this is what the results are. And then you tell me what you like. How do you like it? I mean, I'm cool with that. But if you come to me and say, look, I want to, this is how you got to talk to me. We're going to be in the man, fuck, how you know I want to marry you? Damn, I'm just trying to Andy's point, I'm just trying to get to know you. Like, I wanted to all be spontaneous. Because training sound like scheduling to me.
Exactly. No, well, I want to say this, JR, are you mocking me or you're just being funny? Because hold on. Anyway, I want to say this.
What happened?
You're going, So what I'm saying is that I think training is a form of It's a form of teaching. So if I'm teaching you how to treat me and you're teaching me how to treat you, that's not a negative. I don't look at it as, stop it. So I don't look at it as training. I just look at it as we're learning one another. I'm telling you what I like and you need to learn that. You tell me what you like. I need to learn that because you don't want to get the other person upset. Now you're making me lose my train of thought because you keep mocking me. But what I was saying is I want to give my partner what they desire, what they want. and I want them to give me what I want. And sometimes you could figure that out sometimes, and sometimes they could tell you. Like, I don't look at it the way you're saying it. It's not a negative to me. It's like very healthy to do that. It's very healthy to say, hey, honey, I like to be touched like this, or I like this type of food, or whatever it is. And then I'm going to tell you, I like this place. This is where I want to go. Like, it's easy. Why you guys
teach people how to
it?
treat you?
Yes. That sounds.
If I like words of, listen, we talked about the love languages. I like words of affirmation, right? I like acts of service. I like quality time. He likes physical touch. Okay, so we're telling each other what we like, and then you give that person what they like. What's wrong with y'all? What kind of relationships
which one is
do y'all
better?
have?
I'm with you, Balancing Coles. I'm with you. Like, it's not a bad thing to show. He might have said this a month ago, that you got to show somebody how to love you. Don't make me love you the way I love my ex. I'm gonna love you the way you want to be loved. So I'm with you on that.
But which one is better? Finding somebody that you don't, because I mean, I feel like if you're training somebody, I'm training you to be the most compatible person to me. I think it's better to just, for all that, to just mesh naturally, like somebody's compatible to you, instead of, because when you start training people to be compatible to you or whatever, then that's not them being themselves.
No,
I think it's better,
but that's a part of it. That's definitely
I think
a part
it's
of
better to
it.
have somebody be themselves and flow naturally with you, and with chemistry, and then you like, oh, I don't even have to tell you to respect me, or I don't have to tell you to do these things. I don't have to tell you. I think it's so much better when you have somebody who naturally flows with that chemistry, instead of having to, hey, look, I'm gonna give you this training so you can know how to.
No,
like
man.
It's not like a packet, Bruiser. It's not, you know what I mean?
You're taking it too literal. You're taking it too literal.
Yeah, it's like,
there
Bruiser,
has
you're
to be a
married,
level-
so you and your wife know each other. It's about knowing who you're with, who you're dwelling with, right? So, I mean, I don't know anything about your marriage, but it's like your wife going out of the norm and doing some crazy shit, and you like, wait, that's not in your character, or that's not, you know, how we get down. And she just goes out and do some crazy shit. But at some point, you both knew that she was moving a certain way because you gelled that way, you molded that way. You've had conversations to let each other know, like, this is acceptable and this isn't. That's training. That's teaching someone
If
how
I
to
train somebody to be something, oftentimes they're not going to be themselves. I want it to gel naturally.
Your wife can be herself and
That's not
respect
true.
you. The day she disrespects you, it's her going out of the flow of the relationship. It's her going out of the training, because y'all have a mutual understanding that we're going to respect each other. So if she goes outside of that, it's like, all right, you going outside the playbook now. Like, you're going outside of what we stand for. And that's just something minuscule, but there could be big things where men and women, like a man might go out and buy a new car, right? Don't even tell. I've known real people who will go out and make these big purchases, don't even come back and tell their significant other before they do it. They just do it. And if you're fiscally responsible, you're going to want to have those talks. If you don't have those talks, then you're not necessarily training your relationship to be on board on how you guys spend money, how you're going to divvy it up and things like that. I mean, that's how I see it.
Men been trying to give women training for the longest time, telling them how they should behave, how to market themselves so they can have a better chance optimizing, you know, being with somebody that want to marry them. Yeah, don't fucking listen to that. So what we do is when we vet and when we get to know you, we just see how well you can mesh with us, instead of trying to tell you, hey, shit you supposed to already know as a woman in your femininity. You know, that stuff's supposed to come naturally. And if I can bend with it, I mean, it might not be necessarily what I want to dictate to you on how I want to train you or whatever. But if you mold it naturally to that, to what I like, I would rather have that than have to tell you what you need to do or how you need to behave or how you need to react. I want it, you know, natural. I want it spontaneous. You know what I'm saying? I want it like that. And if I have an issue, then I can come to you and say, hey, look, maybe we should look at it this way. And you know what I'm saying? I don't think there's no blueprint. You know what I mean?
I didn't think we were talking about character flaws. I thought we were talking about what works for one man may not work for another. So let's say my husband loves when I rub his feet when he gets home. Another man may not like that. They may just want, you know, to chill and relax and not be bothered. I'm thinking when we're talking about training, it's to your personal needs rather than this is what men want, this is what women want. So I don't know if I'm misunderstanding, but I would think learning your partner versus learning what men want can be completely different depending on, you know, what we're actually talking about.
But see, when you in your femininity and you have those submissive traits that come with it, I don't have to train you, because that alone is going to allow you to bend to my will.
I disagree, because you may want specific things versus Kyle may want something else. But my femininity
that got nothing to do with what I just said, though.
No, but that's what we're talking about, Bruiser. What we're saying is you're talking about training a woman to be different. I think we're saying we're training you on how we are. You know what I mean? I'm trying to explain to you, I want short ribs for dinner tonight. That's when I've had a long day. My favorite meal is meatloaf. You know what I mean? Your favorite thing to do at the end of the day might be to smoke a blunt. So you got to let your lady know what things you like and like that are specific to your personality.
Customize.
Is a little different in terms of just y'all chemistry.
That's just communication.
We're talking about
man.
just like the nuances of your personality that you're.
That's just being aware of your person's preferences and communication. I don't look at that as, oh, I'm training.
But you know how many people don't do that?
You get
exactly.
You pick up things that your person likes, and you just you mentally store those things. It ain't nothing.
But you're speaking like Balancing was saying, and like you're saying, Bruiser, that's communication. But in reality, you don't realize how absent that is from a lot of these relationships.
Yeah.
You know, Balancing was mentioning you know, you want to find out what specific things your man wants, you know, whereas a woman can say, you know, you hear a lot of women say, oh, I ain't got time to teach no nigga how to blah, 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 blah. He 30 years old, 40 years old. I don't blah, blah. Every lock is different. You know what I'm saying? How you pick it, where you pick it. You know what I mean? So I want to know what your specific thing is, because I'm not going to be sitting here wasting time overworking, you know what I'm saying, looking like a glazed donut over something that's not working, you know. Nope. I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. So what is your customized, you know, what appeals to you? What do you
Plus, you
like?
got to set an expectation as a leader in the relationship. You got to let them know how you want to be spoken to, what things trigger you, how you argue, how you resolve situations. These are all, I mean, I feel like we're just getting caught up on the word training and not just learning. You're just actively showing your partner how you live your life. And then it's on that person to make the adaptation, to make the changes in order to be with you. All of that is just training. It's not something that like, okay, you were this person, now I want you to be differently. I'm just explaining to you who I am. And then it's on you. Even when we do these panels, you're training us on how to communicate with you, Bruiser, versus how Hink communicates. So we have to come at you guys differently. A woman in her femininity isn't going to communicate the same way with Hink that they communicate with me, that they communicate with you. So they have to show us, or we have to show that person how we want to be spoken to. And it's going to all be different. So we could use the word learning. We can use the word training, experience, communication. I think we're all saying the same thing. But we don't want to trip up like we always do. We don't want to get tripped up over words and then be triggered by the words and then misinterpret the message because we can't get over the word training or the word submission and things like that.
Why did they use a different word then? Why do they use training?
Because, I mean, it is training. That is what it is. But it's just not, I'm not explaining to you that you need to be different, Bruiser. I'm just saying, okay, man, you know, I've had a hard day. This is what I do to relax from my hard day. If me and you are going to kick it, then you need to know that this is what I do. I'm not saying that you need to come do it with me. I'm just saying
what I don't want to do is dismantle the question. The question is very clear. And what the dude said at the end was very clear. When I met my wife, I never had to train her on nothing. What I did was I wanted to see how she responded to the things that I prefer or the things that make me tick or the things that I like. I didn't necessarily want to tell her. I felt like I would be cheating myself off of her naturally adapting to me by giving her the cheat code to me. I wanted her to pull it out of me. And I think it's some excitement in that and some joy in being able to see that, damn, my wife is paying attention to me. She's paying attention to the things I like. I don't got to tell her shit. This is the one for me. I can sit here with her I can have a conversation with her and enjoy it because we in sync. You know what I mean? There's things about me that she's able to pull out of me that I didn't even know I like. So for me to train her on something, I will be cheating myself out of things that I can get to potentially that I might not even know that I'm aware of. You know, I feel like women are able to pull that out of you if y'all mesh well, but you got to just let it mesh. A lot of people trying to force it. Like, everybody's not going to be who you want to be. You just got to see who they are. You may not, you may be able to, you may like something, but this woman that you met may change your mind. You might like something different, but you were never introduced to it because this person was unique. She had a unique way of bringing that out, and she brought it out of you. So now you're owning something else. So you just got to let yourself be free. You know what I'm saying? And stop trying to, I need to coach this person and I need to.
No. Yeah, but Bruce, even if you're doing that, you're still, and she spontaneously just decided, I'm going to cook you a certain meal. But you sit there and I'm sure you're going to communicate. Maybe I don't think this meal was very good. You're training her. You're teaching her. You letting them know. Even if she's spontaneous, all of a sudden start going down when you start sucking your balls, licking your balls. Oh, baby, I really like it. You're training her. Now she knows the next time Bruce likes his balls licked.
That is not training, man. That's her revealing something to you that you like, or I don't look at
what do you define as training, Bruiser?
Okay, let me give y'all an understanding of what I think training is. Training to me is I have something. It's more like a manual to me. You know what I'm saying? It's more like a criteria. I'm gonna push that onto you so you can know it. That's what I think training is to me. It's something that I already know, and I'm already able to foresee about the things I like or the things I'm used to. And I want you to be able to embrace that. That's what I looked at as training. It's I'm the leader of what's going on, and these are the things that I want you to do.
I think it's training because as a woman, I'm taking mental notes as to what my husband responds to. So even though my husband is not saying, hey, this is the blueprint of what I need in my day or whatever, I'm seeing what he responds to. So I'm like, okay, when he has a hard day, this is what he wants. When he's really happy, this is what he wants. That's how I see this question as being trained. Maybe in dating, the training is different, but you're still learning from your significant other how to react in certain situations. Another point I wanted to say really quickly is training could also look like who you were in your past relationship. You learn how to either train yourself or train your spouse or whomever to be different from who they were in the past or in a past relationship, because sometimes people bring baggage or crap from a past relationship that needs to be unlearned, and that could be part of training too.
Another thing y'all got to understand, when you train somebody or whatever, you got to understand what you're doing is you're revealing something to them that's constant in your life or constant about you. You got to understand, as people, if you're going to grow together, these things are not going to be constant. These things are going to evolve. So all this training, a lot of the stuff that y'all call y'all training each other about, it's going to be, y'all going to be ripping pages out. Y'all going to be throwing that shit away. Oh, look, we're introducing ourselves to something new. We've gotten older. We gotten a little bit more mature. You know, technology has changed. Society has changed. Now we got to adapt. All this training stuff, man, just let your relationship.
That's what the ing on training means. It means it's continuous. Right. It means you're still doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be something that may change. It's going to be something that, you know, may grow into something else. So ing means you're just still doing it.
I can deal with that.
And that's what everything in life, you just learn how to use the new iPhone. You learn how to use the new computer. Everything in life is updated and changes. So, I mean, come on, that's everything.
I can deal with that.
All right.
Because you don't want your wife to be dealing with you the way she dealt with her ex, right?
Okay.
You don't want her to be sexual with you the way that she was with her ex. So now that she's with you, she has to learn you and how to, you know, sexually please you. And you're a part of that training, whether it's the moans that you give her, whether it's straightforward, like, I love when you do this. But all of that is still part of training. And then you stop that training because she does it the way you like. And if you guys want to incorporate something new, then you just incorporate something new.
My question to you about this, I don't want her to be sexual like she was with her ex. How would I know when we're having sex, she's doing the things she did with her ex? How would I know?
Well, if there's no confirmation from you that you like what she's doing, or, you know, whatever she's doing is pleasing you, whatever she's doing, she may have been doing that with her ex. So if you're not confirming that you like it or you like it a different way, no, you're not going to know, but she's going to know. That's why she needs to be trained in the way to do it with you.
Yes,
because a woman
Bruiser,
can do the same thing with every single man, but until one man says, nah, I don't like it like that, I like it like this. Now she's being trained to do it the way that man likes it. But the man may never know, but she will.
So I get what you're saying, but just making a statement saying I wouldn't want her to do what she did with her ex. It just don't hold any weight to me because first of all, I wouldn't know what she's doing with her ex. Hell, who's know? I might like the same thing that nigga like. I might.
Okay,
like
so I shouldn't have said you. I should have said her. In her mind, you know what I mean. If she's doing the same thing, and like you said, you may like it, but you may not like it. So if you don't like it, you have to say that.
Well, me personally, man, if I got a technique that I use with my tool, you know what I'm saying, and every woman, it makes them do something. I'm probably gonna do that shit on YouTube because I know this shit works.
And then,
yeah, but what I'm saying, if she don't like it, she got to tell you she don't like it, and now you got to train and do something different. Now you have to learn and do something different. So it's training on both sides.
It's training. It's semantics at this point. It doesn't matter what we verbalize and call it. Like it's the same thing. You're training. You're learning that person. We're moving on. Thank you, because I'm about to fall asleep with this topic.
All right, Balance. The floor is all yours. Go ahead and lead us to the next discussion.
No, it's good. I'm looking at the what people are saying in the chat, and it's funny. But no, we can move on.
Hey, ain't Balance? Ain't you supposed to come up with the topics for next Thursday?
Yes. Yeah. Listen, I listen. If y'all want me to come up with the topics for next Thursday, they're gonna be really good. So.
All right, I'm gonna patch you up. I'm gonna patch you up with HR. No. I mean, HR handles all of that stuff. So,
okay.
I'm see what she got to say.
Yeah. So once you guys see the topics on Thursday, just know that they came from Balance.
They're gonna be good topics, not semantics about teaching and come on.
Yo, this the second time.
What shots are being taken, JR?
Damn, Balance, you should have just stayed with last week when we.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start a Herculean report after this show.
I'm just ignoring
No, JR, we good.
Even the dogs is like, damn, Balance.
That is the dog by the beach too. Let me mute her.
Damn.
All right, Doug Will, Super Chat $5. You can train or teach your spouse to better fit your needs. That's why you arrange marriages and work. Bravo Tech $20 says, Bruiser, I think you're looking at this from a military standpoint, which I totally relate to. You said you see it as something you have to push on someone. Maybe when you hear training, you think of a field manual. Is that true, Bruce?
A little bit, sort of. I hold a little weight.
All right. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, T.H. Henley. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Now it's time to get to the meat. And we know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
Don't y'all all ow at once, but we know the ladies like the meat. It's not that type of party over here, so shouldn't hear shit from the men. All right.
Shout out to the ladies. Shout out to the ladies.
Shout out to the ladies. Find a woman with a good blueprint and build. Find a woman with a good blueprint and build. I'm not really sure if this video I'm gonna play for you guys is old because I was hearing some people say, "Oh, he's switching up on us now." Who might I be referring to? Any wild guesses on the panel?
Kevin Samuels?
No.
Oh.
Child, he going. I don't know.
Was it one of my videos?
He said it was old. That's why I said.
Oh no, it wasn't one of mine.
Well, he don't know if it's old or not.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video because we'll be all day and we're not balanced.
Where's your wife? You need to get a good, wholesome woman.
Well, it's kind of fucking hard. We're in 2020, 2022. It's really hard to get a nice, pleasant lady, bro.
Find them.
How?
Well, first things first, you have to find a good blueprint. I don't believe you find a good completed woman. You find a good blueprint, one who is capable of learning and understanding that you can help grow, and then you turn her into the perfect woman. You must build the woman.
How?
By leading by example.
Where do I get the blueprint? Where? You know what I like about him? He's trying not to break it. You're smiling a lot.
I'm smiling.
You're admired. Be honest. Are you glad?
I'm happy to smile because I like the questions you're asking.
Good. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead. How do you find the blueprint in a woman?
All right. So I'm actually smiling. The true reason I'm smiling is every single time I answer anything about women, I smile a little bit because I know that there's going to be a field day of the Matrix. But truthfully, you need to find a woman who's not completely corrupted by society and not broken. That's what you have to do. Find one who's not broken and corrupted. And then you need to show her that there's more happiness for you and her living a life of truth.
Right.
Living a life of away from the degeneracy. And then you need to be man enough for her to respect you and allow you to lead her to the promised land. That's how. You're never going to find a complete and perfect woman. You're going to have to
build it in.
You're going to have to build her.
Okay.
There's two. Either you are programming your woman's mind or society is programming your woman's mind. And if you're going to allow society to program her mind, do you think she's going to be an honest, good person?
No.
What is society telling her to do?
Tell her to not do that?
Well, society's telling her to be a 304.
What's that?
Well, I'm saying things I'm allowed to say on Twitch.
Well, what's a 304? You can tell me.
You can work it out. But
304?
Yeah. Ask Fresh and Fit, they'll tell you. Society's telling her to be degenerate and promiscuous, right?
Okay.
But you have to tell her the opposite. So it's your programming against society's programming. If you just leave her to be empty without programming, I don't believe that women truly operate in that realm. I think to one degree or another, they're always programmed by someone or something. So you have to combat society's programming as a whole. That's how you build a good woman.
Find a woman with a good blueprint and build. Who would like to go first on this?
I agree. What you do is, I don't know about a blueprint. I think the word is like clean slate. You want to find a woman or a man who's got the cleanest slate out here. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily relate that to, any kind of specific behavior like sexual partners. I don't want to put that, it may not be body count necessarily. It could be, but it may not be that. But just like her perspective on the world is still relatively neutral, something that you might be able to influence. Her circle of friends isn't too big. She's not necessarily some socialite. He was talking about being corrupted by social media and society and things like that. So I just interpret that to be like a person who is not going to be influenced by what the trends say, not influenced by what social media is saying, but has her own thoughts and has her own mind and just has, hasn't really been corrupted by all the things that we all talk about, whether it's any kind of sexual behavior, any kind of perspective on relationships, perspective on men, all these things. Try to find a woman who is neutral in a lot of those senses. And then that way you can build her up to be the kind of woman that you need for you in your specific life.
I would say that broken and corrupted. I think that first of all, I think the titling for this topic and the caption they had on the video was kind of off a little bit from what he was saying. I think he was saying, find a woman who had a good resume. You know what I'm saying? That fits your blueprint. You create the blueprint before you even find this woman. Because you as a man, you're creating the blueprint on how you wanted to build and mold this woman into be a compatible mate, partner or wife for you. So before you even go out here and hunt, before you even go out here and try to find a woman, you build the blueprint in your mind. Okay, these are the things that I want this woman to be. These are the things, these are the qualities and physical attraction and all this other stuff, age, whatever, all those traits that you want this woman to have. Once you get that blueprint completed, now you go out there and you find a woman that has a good resume that can bend to that blueprint, that hasn't been corrupted, that hasn't been broken. It's not so much of man or woman, it's a woman, because you finding a woman is not going to create a blueprint to find a man. So I disagree with you on that part, Cal, but other things maybe not so. A woman is not going to create a blueprint to go build a man. That's a totally masculine thing, and I don't think women are trying to do that. Most of them are hypergamous or whatever you want to call it. They're trying to find somebody that they can hitch to, that can help them, what do you call it? Help meet or whatever you call it. But yeah, so it's about finding a woman with a good resume. A lot of these women don't have, not a lot, but oftentimes you run into women that don't have the resume that fits your blueprint. So you got to keep searching. But if you have the right blueprint, you know what I'm saying, and you find a girl with a good resume, that's it. You hit it all.
I think the good resume is no resume in this particular situation. I think you
Well,
might
you're being unrealistic
look a
when you
certain
say
way.
no
You
resume.
want a clean slate. You don't want anybody who has any, the least amount of influence of, ratchet culture, thought culture, TikTok culture, all that stuff. You want a woman who says, I'm really not on social media that much.
Oh, a 10-year-old.
Right there already. You already finding somebody who you can build. So
Well,
if you're a man with no blueprint yourself, you can't build a woman and you ain't built yourself. So, that's why I'm saying man or a woman. If you're a woman out here who's calling herself being available, you don't want to be picked up by a man with no plan. So you want to be picked up man with someone who knows what they want out of life. If you're a clean slate, two clean slates can't ride on each other. You know what I mean? You got to have somebody with some experience if you call yourself looking to build somebody else up.
Go ahead, Andy. Is that you?
So a child, you want like, because that to me, when you say a clean slate, like that's what I think of. Like,
I don't think of a child, just think of a person who's not impacted. Like, you don't have a history in your life where you were behaving a certain way because you saw it on TikTok. You don't want to go out and get plastic surgery because Kim Kardashian has it. I want a woman who has
You're not easily influenced.
Every time I start talking, before I even
you guys have to understand is that women are children.
Okay. So before every single time I start talking,
go ahead, Andy.
Somebody starts talking over me or cutting me off.
I was just providing you clarity.
I know, but you could have waited until I was literally finished with my complete thought.
It's how these shows are, so you can't take it too personal, like.
But they don't do it to anybody else.
Oh, you think they picking on you?
I'm not saying that they're picking on me, but I'm just saying I don't know if it's the tone in which I talk or like the certain way of which, like, I'm very stoic, right? But at the same time, when I'm saying I want to finish my thought, I do.
All right,
y'all.
Okay, you guys. All the men on the panel just resting your masculinity, and the women resting your femininity. There we go.
Let Andy finish. We got
you. What I was saying was, saying this to a mass audience can be very misconstrued. When you say find somebody with a clean slate, immediately in the chat, I saw a bunch of guys start going, oh, so I need to start dating 20-something-year-olds again. It gives very predatory, like, to the masses, because that's where their mind goes to.
Predatory.
When you say, can I finish? So the reason I'm saying predatory is because a lot of the people on here, you've got them saying, oh, I need to date these straight out of high school, virgins, straight out of high school. When you say clean slate, I think you need to clarify what you mean by clean slate, because when they hear that, they're thinking a woman who has no life experience, no sexual experience, no experience whatsoever. When you say a clean resume. So like it can create this misconstruity of what they're what they're trying to understand, because they automatically took it to a weird place in the chat. When you said clean resume, they're like, I need to start dating women straight out of high school or 20-something-year-olds or whatever. And that's just weird.
You know what's sad? That everybody automatically thinks that anybody over 20 doesn't have a clean slate. That's the sad part about it. And I'm not even saying it. That's everybody else saying it. Basically, anybody in their 30s is pretty much
through thoughty ass, right? Like, I understand what you're saying, Indy, but I feel like anybody thinking weird shit, that's on them, first of all. But
and for you as a lady to say clean slate and jump all the way to a teenager out of high school suggests that y'all also believe that a woman can't be.
I didn't jump to that. I said that in the chat. That is what the response was when he said.
Well, when you pulled that from the chat and brought it here, suggests that you relate. You feel that.
I'm bringing awareness.
Hold on, Andy. You got to let him finish, Andy.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying when you bring that from the chat into here, nobody said that on the panel, but you felt the need to make that an emphasis because perhaps maybe you can. You know what I'm saying? You recognize what he's saying and you may be able to relate to that feeling whenever somebody say clean slate. So whenever I say clean slate or somebody with a good resume, why can't y'all just think that's somebody that's 28, 29, 30? That's just not been ran through. But y'all know that. Y'all already know that. That's my. I'm gonna let somebody else go though.
I think that what I was trying to say was from Kyle, I just wanted a little bit more clarification because these were the reactionary responses that I saw from the people in the chat. So I was like, can you clarify what you mean by clean slate or clean resume? Because these people in the chat, the audience that we're speaking to, the masses, there's no clarification there. So they're jumping to this is what a clean slate is, low body count. And then he clarified saying, I'm not even saying body count. Like he did go into detail and give a little bit more specific. So that's what I was asking. That's it. I'm not saying that I relate to it. I don't know what a clean slate looks different for everyone. Resumes look different to everyone. So
what is a good resume do you look like?
Well, I'm not a man.
I'm talking about as a female. As a female, you don't have to be a man to know what a worthy woman looks like to be married. You can know this too as a woman.
But I'm not looking for a husband. A husband is supposed to find me. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. I'm not out here looking. All I can do is work on myself.
But that doesn't. I get that you're not one finding it, but you could still prepare yourself to be found.
Right.
To be
So that's what I said. All I can do is
optimizes your chances to fit the resume that man has a blueprint for.
Right. So I said
so I'm asking you is and you don't have the answer. Hold on, the woman on the panel can answer. What do y'all think a woman with a good resume is?
I'm not quite sure if it's a resume. It says find a woman with a good blueprint and build. I believe that women are supposed to submit under a man's blueprint. However, the blueprint that a woman has is a blueprint that her father laid down for her. Like I was raised in a house with my mother and my father. And so the blueprint is knowing how to be covered, knowing how to respect a man. I grew up in sports, so being able to, to have long suffering endurance, like those things that a man is going to need in a marriage. That's where a man finds that woman, who is able to hold her tongue or who is able to just respect a man in general because she knows she's seen that example. My parents are still married. I still see them, in their marriage. And so a lot of women who don't necessarily see that blueprint, because that's what I think of when I hear blueprint. When she doesn't necessarily, see that blueprint. She doesn't see a man loving on a woman. She doesn't see a woman being submissive to a man, meaning, there's plenty of time. My mom probably had a lot of things to say about my dad, but it wasn't like she was arguing with him or going back and forth with him. No, he led the home. She raised us as children. She was submissive to him. So if women don't necessarily see that, and that's why in the beginning I said that women need to really work on their mouths. Like we have to be adamant about doing that and focused on doing that, because if not, that's not a good blueprint that a man is going to want to, add to his team and say, okay, I know that she'll be able to, help me with this business or carry the business on if I'm not available.
I think we got it wrong. And JR, I think maybe to help, I think you should play that video again and just stop it after he explained what he meant by blueprint, because he was talking about a woman being broken and finding a woman that's not broken and corrupted. He's not saying find a woman with a blueprint. He's saying you have the blueprint because you're building this woman. And when you find the woman that's not broken and corrupted, now you're able to build her. And what
doesn't that come from childhood? You usually get broken and corrupted from childhood. I always have this thing from the womb to the tomb.
I took the video to mean that Andrew Tate was saying like more by society and social media and all of the other extra, like not necessarily a childhood traumas, but just like, do you take your cues from Instagram? If you do, then that's not a woman you may want to mess
right. But
with.
if you do, that means you weren't parented well. Like when
No,
I was
it's
young,
not that. Go ahead,
the internet and the TV was blocked off. There were channels that were blocked off, so access wasn't there. So if you have a lot of access to those things, then of course you're going to take the cues from where you have the access from. But if if you have parents that are disciplined and shutting off that access, then you're not going to be prone to take your cues from society, which is not real in the first place.
Here we go, y'all. Where's your wife? You need to get a good, wholesome woman.
Well, it's kind of fucking hard. We're in 2020, 2022. It's really hard to get a nice, pleasant lady, bro.
Find them.
How?
Well, first things first, you have to find a good blueprint. I don't believe you find a good completed woman. You find a good blueprint, one who is capable of learning and understanding that you can help grow, and then you turn her into the perfect woman. You must build the woman.
How?
By leading by example.
Where do I get the blueprint? Where? You know what I like about him? He's trying not to break it. You're smiling a lot.
I'm smiling.
You're admired. Be honest. Are you glad here?
I'm happy to smile because I like the questions you're asking.
Good. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead. How do you find the blueprint in a woman?
All right. So I'm actually smiling. The true reason I'm smiling is every single time I answer anything about women, I smile a little bit because I know that there's going to be a field day of the Matrix. But truthfully, you need to find a woman who's not completely corrupted by society and not broken. That's what you have to do. Find one who's not broken and corrupted, and then you need to show her that there's more happiness for you and her living a life of truth.
Right.
Living a life of away from the degeneracy. And then you need to be man enough for her to respect you and allow you to lead her to the promised land. That's how. You're never going to find a complete and perfect woman. You're going to have to
build it in.
You're going to have to build her.
Okay.
There's two. Either you are programming your woman's mind or society is programming your woman's mind. And if you're going to allow society to program her mind, do you think she's going to be an honest, good person?
No.
What is society telling her to do?
Tell her to not do that?
Well, society's telling her to be a 304.
What's that?
Well, I'm saying things I'm allowed to say on Twitch.
Well, what's a 304? You can tell me.
You can work it out. But
304?
Yeah. Ask Fresh and Fit, they'll tell you. Society's telling her to be degenerate and promiscuous, right?
Okay.
But you have to tell her the opposite. So it's your programming against society's programming. If you just leave her to be empty without programming, I don't believe that women truly operate in that realm. I think to one degree or another, they're always programmed by someone or something. So you have to combat society's programming as a whole. That's how you build a good woman.
Okay, so I stand corrected. He did say find a blueprint. So what I understand from that, finding a blueprint is the actual a person that hasn't been broken, that hasn't been corrupted, that's not a 304, that's not been taught by society to be promiscuous and degenerate. But once you find it, and oftentimes related to like an architecture, then you can build it up. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I think it meant. And that's what I'm asking y'all. What do y'all think a woman with a good blueprint is?
Someone who has great, moral character. I think, honestly, personally, a lot of things are spiritual for me. So a blueprint has to be, there has to be something that when all else fails and I can't figure it out or he can't figure it out, then we know somewhere where, we can go and figure it out. But she's well-mannered.
You could still be a 304 with that moral character or whatever.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's we could get into that, but that's why relationships with God exist, because some things is a struggle for some women, while other things is just like, I'm gonna just go out here and be a 304.
And to Precious's point, that's what I meant by clean slate. High moral character. You're not out here getting it in at every opportunity just because you can. You're not out here, you know what I mean, valuing the things that absolutely don't matter, that are detrimental to your future. Though when I say clean slate, that's what I mean. I don't mean young and inexperienced. I mean a person who's strong within their character and has lived their life that way, that you can then build. Once you find them, you can then build up. You don't want to find someone who's already corrupted by, what did he say? They're teaching them to be a 304, be promiscuous. If you find that person, it's going to be hard to instill different kinds of values when they're already living a certain kind of lifestyle. So when he says blueprint, I took that to mean find somebody that you like, maybe looks good, but they don't really have much else.
It's funny how there was a difference on how, when I asked the question, she explained it and you explained it. When she explained it, she went into a moral character and spirit. But when you explained it, you went straight into 304s, promiscuity and all that stuff. Why women can't just go straight to that? Is it something they trying to shield or something like that? Because I think he was very clear on that in the video. But whenever I say, hey, what do you think a woman with a good blueprint is? Why not just say, hey, look, it's probably a woman who's not a 304, promiscuous and racked up all these bodies and all this other shit and corrupted by propaganda.
Because 304 is not the only thing. Being a promiscuous woman is not the only thing that being promiscuous is not the only thing that men look at for a blueprint for a woman. When I say morality, I say across the board. Like, how does she think across the board? How does she talk about other people? How does she treat other people? You know, it's not only about sex and her having a high body count. It's a lot that goes into morality.
See, the things you're talking about is the things that get built on that blueprint.
Right, but she has to have that blueprint first.
What I'm saying, like,
and then you build on that according to your program.
Clear what men want, man. We want a woman who isn't ran through. I get
you want more than that.
Isn't the only thing, but that's like a major thing for us.
It is.
So whenever somebody asks you a question like this, I think it's important if you lead off with that. I know it's not the only thing.
You think that, Bruiser? Why do we get on these panels and y'all feel like we have to answer the way that y'all want to? You asked me the question. And morality, I broke morality down in more than just sexuality. But because I didn't say the term 304, it's like, oh, well, he said 304 and you said morality. Why can't you say 304? Because 304 is not a term that I use. It's not. I don't use the term 304.
Okay, what term do you use?
Hoe? Whore? I don't use 304. But then again, my morality won't say hoe or whore because I don't have to say those words to say morality.
So your morality is keeping you from being accountable.
No, my morality is saying that I can use other words than 304. 304 is familiar for you. Being someone of moral character is familiar for me because I know how to expand my vocabulary.
Okay, I want to say something to the video because I tend to agree with Andrew Tate a lot, actually. And I know that's controversial, but he makes a lot of logical sense to me. And I like a lot of what he says. So I agree with him. And in this video, I actually agree with him as well. I think the way to look at it is, this is with anything in life, how you choose. Like if you're going to choose a job, if you're going to choose a place to live, you do your history and your research and you look, is this a safe area to live in? How much crime is in this area? You know what I mean? That's with anything. Do I want my child to go to this college? Like, tell me the graduation rates of this school. This is with anything in life. Of course, you do your background check. You do your history check. Why are we acting like when it comes to people, that's so different? I think it's very important someone's dating resume and how they live their life. I do. I actually do. And also, you could tell somebody's character by their friends, where they go, what they do, how they spend their time and money. Why is it you guys are acting like this is rocket science? Not sure why, but there are certain women, I can see them out just by how they dress. And I know that we are not compatible as friends. So I don't know why guys are acting like it's so difficult. And the same thing when it comes from women choosing men. If I see a man walking down the street and he has tattoos on his face and his pants is hanging, most likely we're not compatible. I'm not being offensive. I'm just not going to go for that man. It's not like I'm going to say, let me try him out and date him. And then if it doesn't work, you know what? All men are this. That's stupid. Like, I'm just not going to do it. So you men need to also, I think, choose based off of the history, of course, but how does a woman present herself to the world? If you could go to Instagram and look at how a woman is presenting herself on social media, that tells you a lot. It saves you a lot of time, energy, and money. Why are we acting like things like this is hard? It's like common sense. I know common sense isn't common, but you can look on this panel. You see the women on this panel. We're not speaking like a lot of other women you may see on social media. That in itself, that is your guidance right there. It's showing you right here. So I don't know why it's so complex. Like,
man,
I think that also too, that like Bruiser was about to get on my tail earlier about withholding sex or whatever, my celibacy and my journey with celibacy because I'm single, and he's saying that I'm contributing to people's mental detriment or whatever he was about to go at that angle. But like, that is something that the blueprint of my future spouse will respect. The fact that I am not out here with a high body count, right? So we say that we're looking for women with low body counts, right? But then we're turning around and saying, oh, but y'all are withholding sex from men that you're dating. I'm dating him. He has not married me yet. He is not entitled to my body. And so if I have a standard and a moral code and a blueprint and I'm withholding from somebody, I'm wrong. And then if I turn around and I have sex with every single guy that I date, let's say I date 5 guys, in a 5-month period. If I have sex with all 5 of those guys in a 5-month period, now I'm a hoe. So there's just so much contradiction and so much everywhere for women. Like we don't know. It's confusing. We're damned if we don't.
I never said anything like that. I don't know where you got that from. I never said you should be out here being a hoe. I said if you're in a relationship with a man, you want to be able to fulfill all those things. That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying you're supposed to. And to balancing Cole's point, you said you can go and look at a woman the way she's dressed and know whether she's compatible enough to be a friend. And we should be able to take that same terminology or method and put it into whenever we're going out here to perceive whether a girl is worthy of us courting or anything. I would argue against that and say that in a question to you, what is the difference between how a woman dress today, a stripper dress, and a prostitute dress?
I don't dress like a prostitute, so therefore,
I'm just asking you the difference. I'm just asking you the difference.
First of all, you're the same man, I believe, that said on a panel that you can't handle black women. They're too something aggressive. I don't even recall the word.
No, that wasn't me.
But it wasn't you?
No. This is the first time I was on a panel with you.
No, but I remember you saying black women weren't for you, so you chose a different race of woman to marry. Is that
no?
What you
I
said?
have a black wife. That wasn't me. That was someone else.
Oh, I was about to say, making sure. Okay, good. I'm glad that wasn't you. So what I'm saying is that is a start. The way a woman is dressed. The women on this panel are not dressed like prostitutes, period. You're not going to see that on our social media, and you're not going to see it in real life. So let's not sit here and act like all women just dress like that today, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women right here that don't dress like that. And that's 5 out of 5. So I'm
y'all be holding some grudge, don't you?
No. I'm telling you right now that it's 5 out of 5 women right here that don't dress like that. So you have a moot point. And at the end of the day, look at how a woman dresses. That is step 1. And then have the conversation with her. Why would you go up to a woman dressed like a prostitute? I'm not even being funny. Why would you? If you're searching for something real and long term, why would you approach a woman?
I didn't tell you I would go up to him. I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question in general. When you go out here and you walk out here.
I just answered your question.
You said you answered my question based on a woman that's on this panel. I'm asking you a question.
Never. If you're looking for something serious, do not approach women dressed like prostitutes.
Listen, I know the game. I'm just asking you in general. I get it. You want to talk about the exception. I'm talking about the majority of women out here that's going out. It's going out to have fun. What do they dress like?
Men should go after women who are not the majority. Men should go after women who are the exception.
Again, you teaching me the game. You teaching me the game without answering my question. Sir, I'm just answering. I'm asking you a simple question, and you trying to give me game.
Did I not answer his question?
No, you giving me game, which I already know, and I'm asking you, women in majority out here, when you go out here, what do they dress like?
It depends on where you're going, huh?
All right.
Sometimes I think men surround themselves or only view a certain type of woman, so they don't actually know that other types of women exist. Sometimes I think men only see the women on Instagram, or men only see the women in the club, and they think this is what women are like. I can never find a wife because look at this. When good, wholesome women are like literally just going to school, going to work, trying to figure out life. And even some of those men are passing up those women because they're still glued to the booty popping women on Instagram, even though they are disgusted by them. So I do think a lot of men need to change their scope and get off of social media to find a woman that they deem as a wife.
So they say that a woman is a reflection of where the man is at. So if you look at the woman that you're attracting and they all look that specific type of way, you got to kind of look within and find out, why am I only attracting this type of woman? Because you are the type of man that attracts that type of woman. So you have to kind of switch up your environment and what you're doing in order to attract a different type of woman. Because of course, for me, I don't see Pookie and Ray Rays all day, but that's because I I change my environment. I change the activities that I do. I change the things that I participate in. So now I'm attracting a healed man that is stable, that is focused, that is spiritual. All those things change based upon what you do as a person. So if somebody's watching this and they're like, all women are the same, it's because of you. You have to look at what you're doing and where you're putting yourself at to figure out what you really want to attract. Change your environment and you'll change your results.
Thank you, Wanaki. And I want to add, because it's like, where are you looking for this woman? Are you only going to the club? Like Wanaki and I, we're going places. We go to business events. We go to real estate events. We're out here. Like we go to social clubs. There are so many things we do where you're meeting people who would never, you're not even allowed in there dressed like that. So I don't even know where you're finding these women. Like, get out the club at 3 a.m. and maybe go somewhere where respectable people go, and you'll find what you're looking for. But you have to be it also to attract it. So let me start there.
And some men, they love throwing money in front, and then they're mad that they're attracting gold diggers. I'm like, dude, you need to be putting your personality forward, your good morals forward, and you'll attract women with good morals too. If you're throwing your money around and say, listen, I'm ball out of control, I got all this money, you're going to attract exactly what you're putting out there. So please be mindful of
why y'all feel the need to keep saying good morals. I think y'all dancing around
good
things
morals.
That we.
If you're a 3 or 4, let's just face it, you don't have good morals. Let's be clear here. Good morals.
No. What I'm asking you is why y'all can't say promiscuous?
Because
y'all can't say the things that's in the
that's
topic
included
in
in that. How is that not a part of that?
If you listen, he said truth. If you listen to the words that he used, he used the word truth, he used the word wholesome, and he used the word promised land, right? Truth.
He also, what else did he use?
Well, those are the 3 words that I'm throwing out there that he used. He used those words because a lot.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying, what else did he use in the video?
He used the term 304, but is that what you're referring to?
He used the term promiscuous in 304, but it seemed like y'all lips can't spew that. It's like
because
y'all gotta,
he said find a woman with a good blueprint. So a woman with a good blueprint is not going to be a 304. She's going to be someone who
y'all don't want to tell on yourself. That's what it is.
It's not that. It's already understood. A woman
there's
with good
nothing
morals
that we're saying that's promoting promiscuity.
Having sex with millions of men. That is already understood. Having good morals means you keep your legs closed and you understand that you're a good person. You don't speak bad or ill of other people. There's so many things with morals that it's not just having sex or having sex with a bunch of people. There's so many more things. If you are looking for a woman who just has a 0 body count, but she speaks horrible, she cusses, she's a rude person to everyone, then you're still missing out on a good woman because she hasn't had sex with anyone, but she's a horrible person. So we can't just say, oh, she's not 3 or 4, perfect, check, I can marry her. That makes no sense.
So you said she haven't had sex with anybody, but she's a horrible person. What do you mean a horrible person?
She's rude to the waitress.
But see, that's the thing y'all gotta understand, man. Y'all gotta understand. Y'all gotta understand our capabilities as a man. When we find a woman we can find a woman and build her. That's what this man is telling you. But if she's got the resume, if she's not corrupted, she's not a 3 or 4 and promiscuous. There's things about her that you may say she's a horrible person. As for looking at from the lens of a woman, we can make her bow to us, and we can change all that shit with our masculinity, with our impression.
See, that's where you're wrong. Some women don't want to get underneath of a man's program, and that's why you find someone with a good blueprint.
In the danger zone, those women are usually old and they're unimpressionable. I'm saying these women that are impressionable, they have an empty cup. It's not filled like some of you ladies out here. Y'all cup is filled. Can't nobody do shit. Can't nobody tell y'all nothing. I'm saying there's women out here that hasn't been corrupted. That's not a 3 or 4. That's not promiscuous. Y'all might think they're a horrible person, but they got the resume that can be built. You know, they can be built.
Where did they get that resume from? Did they get it from where they grew up? Who raised them?
I don't know where they got it from.
Right.
I don't think he's in.
That's why it says find a woman with a good
whatever you got. If it's the good blueprint that I need to build, I can build on. I'll take it. Whether you got it from your foster parents, whether you got it from your
so for you, a good blueprint is she can't be a hoe. Anything else you can work with.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
That's what I'm asking. Like, is that what you're saying?
And now you just said you don't say those words, so you contradicted yourself. Now you starting to say this. Now we starting to have a conversation.
No, I'm just trying to get what your definition of someone who is who has that good blueprint, because to me it sounds like.
See, but this is the question.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm asking you a question.
I asked you the same question and you wouldn't give it to me.
No, I gave you my answer. I gave you my answer when you asked me that question. You didn't like the answer, but I gave you one. You didn't like it. I didn't use 304. Now I use hoe, and you can't even. I look. I went back on what I usually do to include you.
So now that you can,
you can understand what I'm saying.
So now that you can use the words, now you can understand what I'm saying about y'all trying to dance around these words. Y'all were dancing around these words earlier, but now we had to go through this length in the conversation just to get y'all to
so you want us to say hoes and whores and sluts all over the.
You could have just said 304. Nobody said you had to say all that. You said you don't say 304.
I don't. That's not a term. That's such a new age term to me. 304 is a new age term, so I don't use that term. Just like all these new terms that come out. If you from a different time period, you're not going to use these terms that the young kids are using. I feel like 304 is a very new term.
We don't say 304s.
Not in real life. You say it on the internet.
Yeah,
what I want to say is, for Bruiser at least, is the pinnacle of morality for a woman her not being promiscuous? Is that the top tier woman? She's just not promiscuous, and that's it. That's her morals.
No.
Well, that's why people are saying morality, because
I'm still hearing you as
people are saying morality because there are more things to it. It's not just she doesn't stick around. If
y'all are saying the things that y'all are dancing around words that could possibly fit who you are and your characteristics. That's why y'all ain't saying it. That's the truth. If a woman
talks and tears you down and is absolutely horrible towards you, she doesn't have good morals anyway, too. Would you marry her? Would you build her up and teach her how to be a good woman because, she has 0 body count, but her mouth is worse than a sailor? Is that something you're willing to deal with? Because you said, hey, she has a 0 body count.
All I was asking.
You heard me say she had a 0 body count.
I'm making an example, and I'm asking a question.
What is your question?
My question is, or statement is, a woman who has a 0 body count, but she's fire at the mouth. She'll tear you down whenever she disagrees with you in public, in front of your friends. That's someone you still want to build up and try to.
It's funny that I'm answering. Let me answer your question. No, that's not a good woman. But it's funny that you gotta associate a woman with a fire in her mouth to somebody who has a low body count. Why do you have to go to the extreme to associate that? Why can't she just have a low body count and be a pleasant woman? Why you have to go to the extreme to have the other trait, a very, very large trade-off? You get what I'm saying?
The argument I'm trying to make is that just because she's not a promiscuous woman doesn't mean she's the total package. That you should also look into other parts of her life or who she is to determine if she's wife material. Because there are lots of virgins out there that are still not good. So
there's virgins out there and there's good women out there that does have a low body count too. So for you to have to, you have to look at the women you picking that we got to be aware of. If she's not promiscuous, but she still got this problem. Like,
it's some bullshit. Hey,
go ahead.
Look, it's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with that being a good starting point, though, right? That's a good starting point. We all know this. Nobody wants a hoe. I mean, I don't. Now, if you want a hoe, if that's what you into, then that's your business. But most men don't want a hoe. It's a good starting point. But of course, there's got to be some other things. There's got to be about her that we're looking for. But as far as not being a hoe, not being promiscuous, yeah, that's definitely a good starting point for most men. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it at all. I don't want you if you out there like that. But that's the first thing I'm gonna ask. That's the first thing I'll need to know about. And these other things I'm gonna find out eventually. Because you're not gonna show me your smart aleck mouth, because right at the time when we're engaged and I'm vetting, you're gonna put your good foot forward. But that whole like behavior, that's gonna show off bad. And it might be the way you dress, the way you talk, the certain statements you may make. That's gonna show off bad. But you may not show me you have a smart mouth. unless I put you in a certain situation. So how do we know?
I think everyone on the panel agrees that a promiscuous woman is not wife material. So I don't think
that's the starting point for us. That's what we're trying to say.
We're agreeing with that, and also I want to add that it's not hard to see. Like that shouldn't take you long to find out, and you can find that out fast. So for us to act like that's so hard when it's so easy to see is weird, because once you find that out about that woman, on to the next one. What is the problem? Like you find that out early, take her out, see how she interacts with other men, take her around your friends, see if she's flirting with other men, see how she dresses, see the type of friends she hangs out with, see where she goes at night. This is not rocket science. And if you don't like that about that woman, don't change her, go to the next woman. Why are we? I'm done.
I'm just saying, this day and age, I don't think the way you dress determines your whether you're promiscuous or not.
To be hoes, and we treat hoes as such. You lie to hoes. You be dishonest and you leave a hoe.
You got to get Jay in here and go and finish off.
Nah, I mean, I think in terms of blueprint, I think what he was referring to, and this is just my definition of a blueprint. I mean, it has changed now that I've gotten older. I wish I would have been able to implement it when I was younger, because I would probably be in a different situation. But 2-parent household, that's one thing that's very important, because and if they're not from a 2-parent household, how are their relationships with their mother and father? Because you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody and you're essentially paying for what they lacked in their adolescence or how they came up. Their relationship with their father, are they carrying that out through you? Do they expect you to be their father, or are they resenting you for stuff that their father did? You want to figure out that relationship. Another reason I say 2-parent household is one thing that Precious said. The word endurance, understanding that if you came up in a 2-parent household, which I did, I've seen endurance. I've seen it get ugly, but I've seen the finish line. I've seen, I'm looking at them living life old, just sitting around watching TV, all this young adolescent, what you doing on Instagram bullshit. It doesn't exist then. It's just companionship, laughing at TV shows and Tyler Perry sitcoms, but you have somebody to finish your life off with. That's endurance. The relationship is going to be ugly, but can you endure? Can you get through it? Can you bounce back from it? Another thing about which I mentioned, character and morals. A person that is attached to something is not going to carry themselves a certain way, because they know that these decisions that they're making doesn't just affect them. I'm not going to go out here and do certain things because I know that my name, the name that I come from, I don't want that to get back to them. I don't want to embarrass my family, what I come from. So a woman who is out here sleeping with a bunch of people and they're making decisions for themselves. They're not attached to anything that has any pride or dignity. So I don't want to be a part of that, and financially literate, what I'm saying? I don't want to balance your checkbook and you're spending $500 more than you're making per month, so you need to be financially literate and open to learning and open to teaching. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything. And don't assume that I do. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to close this out. Kyle, you want to say something?
No, I mean, I just agree with Jay. Hey, I echo everything that Jay was saying. I had a question. I was just thinking, like, is it, when it comes to the conversation of promiscuity, I feel like we might be a little older, so we have a different view on it. Seems like the younger generation doesn't really see being promiscuous as a bad thing or as a negative trait on your personality. So I think that I was just curious if you guys agree with that. Do you think that the younger generation, because the dude that Andrew Tate was talking to, he's like some Twitch streamer. He's only like 22. So Tate's trying to tell this kid about women his age that you need to find a woman who's uncorrupted by social media, right?
He's not
Does that
connected.
woman exists in their generation. You know what I mean? Is that a reasonable thing to say to this Instagram generation that we deal with. We're all old, pushing 40, whatever it is. Indy, I know you're young, but I don't want to let me not put y'all on there. We're past the college years of being these young people who still can have their excuse for them.
I was about to say, I just went on a panel with some people who are 22, 24, and I was the oldest one on the panel. I was 27, and I said that body count mattered because they asked that question on this panel, and everybody else was like, no, 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 no. And I was like, oh, well, and they're like, we all got social media. Some of them push it more than others. They're in the music scene. They do whatever. Like, to our age group, even my brother and my little sister, they'll tell you body count does not matter. They do not care. They're not asking. They don't care. They do not care. That's not something that they're looking for their in their mate. That's just not a discussion that they're having. It's not.
Because they're not trying to get married. They just trying to smash.
No, they are trying to get married though. Some of them, I just attended a wedding actually not that long ago. A lot of them are actually getting married. They just don't care. It doesn't change.
So they get married and still have high body counts.
But they don't understand the root.
They don't understand. They don't understand later.
Okay, they started having sex though. Like, for instance, I know some people started having sex at 12 years old. 12 years old, younger and younger. I hate to break it to you, but like my generation and younger, like my little sister, the 2000s, they grew up with cell phones and access. So they were exposed to sex. They started having sex younger. They're having more sex because it's pushed in the media. It's what's pushed and it's what's cool. And so for them to sit up here and say that if your body count is a certain number, they'll never get married. Let's just be honest.
We got to transition, y'all, because Lee's show about to start. So okay, we ain't got
Lee.
Yeah, we ain't got too much time. It's a great discussion, man. Next time we can start at 7 a.m. That way we can sure The Lockhart perspective, $5. Do you think that in order for this to work, the women has to really trust the man? It seems that trust is missing from a lot of the relationships. Rebellious videos, $2. Why no pushback on girls going for old rich men? Bravo Tech, $20. Bruiser and Indy, both former military man and woman, going back and forth respectfully. This is classic. Blaxicon, $5. Also remember closely aligned blueprints, plural, both with tillable character areas, both for greatness, expansions, and built in work best. Stop. Just rules, $5. Also remember, men, please stop defiling our women's clean slates. These are our future mothers, sisters, nieces, aunts, and grandmothers. We're two world of a people. On this 1909, $5. What doesn't make sense is trying to say you want to enjoy sex, but you make it sound like you can't do just that with the husband you love. Shaking my damn head. Adonis 1909, $5. By that logic, ladies say they can only have great sex before marriage. Modern ladies make no sense and refuse to drop the pride and ego. Dang shame. Adonis 1909, $5. By that logic, I read this already. Yeah. Adonis again, 1909, $5. This is why shame needs to be brought back. Other communities keep order with the fear of shame. They dance. Arloon? Is that a word?
I think it's supposed to be around.
Dance around to avoid being ashamed.
Just proofread before y'all put this.
To avoid being ashamed. Shaking my damn head. It happens sometimes, man. Is it just me as texting like it just got harder? Every word I text.
Nah, they choose what they want you to say.
Okay.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Go ahead.
Adonis 1909, $10. When most men who aren't the top 20 don't have experience, they cannot tell if they're dealing with a 304 until it's late. By 25, most ladies have more sexual experience than most men. Thank you, Adonis. The AP, the accountability partner, $5. Balance is 100% correct. We waste too much time wasting time on relationships we know isn't going anywhere. Facts. Facts.
Last one.
Marcus Evans, $5 super chat. Shout out to the panel. I see the ladies are saying, but y'all are proving Bruder's point. Let that sink in. Lux voice.
All right.
We have one more that came through. I'm trying to get the
shit, Pilgrim
Warrior. $49.99 super chat.
Appreciate that, Pilgrim Warrior. Thank you. With that being said, Lee's show is about to ready to start directly after this, and the topic is the woman is for a man's pleasure. Woman is for a man's pleasure.
That's gonna be a good one.
I said,
Y'all better not go over there.
So make sure you guys head over there to Sage Talk with Lee starting directly after this. Appreciate all the super chats that came through. Panel, I love the perspectives today. It was done in a respectful manner. Remember, we taking no personal shot. Don't take anything personal on this panel. It's attacking arguments. If there's anybody need to fill out the hurt feelings report, HR. Anybody? Okay. Well, that report is readily available for anyone on the panel that seeks it. Okay?
And we better not ever interrupt Indy again when she's talking. We all mute. Stay muted until she has clearly presented her point. I'm going to mute right now so she can respond.
No, I was going to say it's okay. It happens to me a lot.
Okay.
There
you go.
That was wrong, JR. That was wrong. No, but I think like I said, it's because I take a lot of pride and try to have a good tone, right?
Because you're damn mouth.
But yes, so it's okay. I know nobody. Y'all just we all get passionate about our point of views. That's it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's all it is. Passion.
But yes, black men, black women, take care of y'all's mental health.
Oh,
hey, yeah, and shout out to you again. The therapy for black men. Shout out, because I'm a look into that. I never knew something like that existed. So shout out to
women too. I dropped the one for the girls too.
Stop the cap.
I'm gonna push every single button on that.
No, that's not me. That's Bruiser. Yeah. That Bruiser over there touching souls over there. All right, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Panel, thank you again for sticking around. Stage Talk with Lee is up next.
Have a good night, y'all.
Bitch, I'ma go all the way up. They keep calling my phone. They catching on to the buzz. I got it out of the mud, but I'ma go all the way up. Bad girl from the sewer. She taking me out of this okay. I'ma go wave. Nice guy with a cold shoulder. You be cool, but I don't know you. Wrote a flower and I'm off the potion. Give me superpowers and I won't stop.
You guys head over there to Sage Talk with T.
Big bank for the space chatter. Way up in the squad NASA. Couple filled with the dark magic. Subtle flex when I run a race. Tell these rap niggas eat my dust. Lil baddie after cellular. Talking life and I will set it up. I'm a sharpshooter. Yeah, Will Smith. Call me Prince Park. Let me freshen up. Bay boy on a level up. Way up. Near the nebulas. I'm never copping a chain. Cause I see it all through the frames. And I leave it all on the pages. Feeling like they want me locked in the cage.
Shout out to Pilgrim Warrior. Green Gang. Welcome.
Spray the champagne shower up in the air. Stunning goggles, what the fuck is a flute? Untamed and she wide off the goose. Ghost ride, bitch, I come through the roof. Fuck 12, cause they all on my tail. Hella wild and I break all the rules. Chill, bro, you out of line. You don't know it's a mood. Bitch, I'ma go all the way up. They keep calling my phone.
Y'all make sure y'all head over there to Sage Talk with Lee. I'm dropping the link right now. Everybody head over there right now. We're gonna take this party right over there. The woman is for a man's pleasure. Should be a great one. Should be epic. Everybody head over there right now.